see it now under the device. I'm probably yapping away now. People are like, you're already live there, Ninja. Yeah, look, we're good to go now. We're all live, we are. So, look, guys, thanks very much for joining us here tonight on a Wednesday night. I really appreciate people that jumped in here last night, Tuesday, to listen to me talk and rant as such. That was the first night that we had back. So I'm absolutely delighted tonight to welcome Patrick Quinlan, Councillor Patrick Quinlan, I should say. Give him the title, guys. So I'm really happy to welcome him here today. The video that I put up yesterday was one that was circulating and did very big numbers on social media, showing what is going on in the county council. And Patrick, I just wanted to bring you into here tonight and have a chat about what's going on in the council, what's your experiences of it. Congratulations to you, first and foremost, getting elected. And what can we expect?
So yeah, thanks for having me on. It's Ninja, man. It's much appreciated, because there's not a lot of platforms out there that are friendly to nationalists. You know what I mean? Thanks for giving me the platform. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak live. It's much appreciated. And in terms of the council, what can we expect? Me butting heads with not only the councils but the entire bureaucracy of the council. You know, pushing forward the nationalist position, advancing the cause, you know, and doing it in such a way that we're not giving up ground, but also we're not, you know, having fits, throwing our toys out in the pram and doing silly things that we shouldn't be doing. Like this position was hard earned on, like, quite literally the blood, sweat and tears of nationalists, and I intend to fully commit myself to the nationalist cause. It is only one council seat, but hey, it's the thin end of the wedge. We have our feet in the door, we're sitting in the chair, we're occupying space, and we get a lot of filthy looks when we're inside the council. No, that doesn't bother me either. It's water off a duck's back. It's actually very appropriate that the StreamYard logo is a duck.
Absolutely, that's well said. And it is a duck. It's a good duck, you know. And as I always like to say, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So that's what we have. That's what we can see in the council as well, and that's why I wanted to put that video up that went viral of the people that decided to shut down your motion. I mean, your motion was a very simple one. If you want to just go over what the motion was and what actually happened, because as you were saying to me beforehand, and you can see it in the video itself, there's a couple of rough edits. What actually happened in that council meeting?
So the motion was on the agenda for a while. This is the thing about the council. So you have a lot of these like things that are going on that the council's operating on, or a lot of initiatives that they're doing, or it's like financial business or something like this. And they get through all of that stuff, and like it takes a long time to get through all of that stuff. So by the time it even gets to a councillor's motion, it could be only a couple of motions that they get to. So the motion that you're after submitting for that meeting for that second Monday of the month is being put off for another 4 weeks. But it went to the floor eventually. And, you know, Councillor Quinlan, proposed. And I'm sitting there, and then Neil Ains in it, shut like there's no one here. But the councillor sitting beside me, an A2 councillor, he seconds the motion. Now, I think that was like just a little glimpse inside to the councillor's conscience. Like, he's like, nah, come on, let's hear it, let's talk about it, let's discuss it. Fair play to him, seconding the motion to get it to the floor. And despite what I think of A2 as an organisation, Sinn Féin lie in my mind and a lot of people's mind on the national side of things. But the motion got to the floor. Couple of words about like why the motion's on the floor. The last time Fingal produced a statistic like this, it was 2000 and I think it was 11 or 2014. It was a Fine Gael councillor put the motion. He put a question to the council, and the question was just answered. Whereas I initially just put it as a question to the council, and the question I got back off the head of housing, Paul Carroll, was, we have the data, but it's going to take too long to correlate that data. So it's going to be a waste of public resources to get you that question. And I'm sitting there in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, all concerned about public resources now. Very convenient, but whatever. So motion goes to the floor. Motion gets seconded. Couple of words on the motion. Councillor Kieran Dennison asked the question in 2011. At the time he got the answer, I think it was like 51%. Yeah, I think it just went over the tipping point. It was 51% of Fingal County Council's social housing waiting list was for the national or for the board. So I was basically just putting the case forward here. Look, that's a bit of a gap. Like, you literally look at it, it's like 14 odd years of a gap of an update. So we asked. So I put that down. I'm like, this is why I'm asking for it. Like, you know, like this is information. People are interested in it. It's one of the main reasons I was elected to represent the constituency. Like, because people, I'd say, have this belief that is solidified by the fact that they have a set of eyes and they look around them and they see new build housing estates going up, and the vast majority are occupied by non-nationals. So everyone else gets a turn then to speak. So everyone else starts speaking. The people that want to speak, of course. And one councillor outright, I find the motion offensive. I don't even think we should be hearing the motion. And I'm just sitting there being like, right, boom, communist. Right, boom, communist. You know, like in the head, I'm like, yeah, boom, communist. Absolutely identified. And then the councillor from Aintu that seconded it, he's like, yeah, you know, I sort of agree, you know, we should probably have an update, and then bang, you know, mutes himself again. Another few councillors join in. They're like, it's just a racist motion and blah, blah, blah. The Labour councillor, he tunes in and he's like, I think Fingal's in the right position to, like, you know, shut this councillor down. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, please give me the information. Because that's all I'm asking for. Transparency. Give me the information. Let me give it to the people. Let them make their mind up on about it. But we go one step further on the Labour hierarchy. The mayor, similar type comments, hateful, blah, 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 blah. I'm listening. I'm like, my God, why am I doing this to myself? Like, this is just something that should just be, you have the information, give us the information, thanks. You're the council, you're the bureaucrats, we're the councillors, we're elected to represent the people. People want this information, give them the information. But he goes a step further, not scalding me, but turning to the Aintu councillor and scalding the Aintu councillor. And then in my head, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, who is this guy to lecture them? Like, these are separate political parties. And one's called Aintu, the other's called Labour. They have two different leaders in our parties. So what's the situation here? Well, he's lecturing them about, you know what, it's very sad to see Aintu supporting the far right, big bad scary far right, little old Paddy Quinlan occupying one seat, sending shivers down their spine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but then it gets to the voting stage, and even funny enough, Councillor Kieran Denison talks somewhat on a very light foot in favour of the motion, but at the same time not also in favour of the motion. Lots of other councillors, I mean, the usual suspects, PVP chiming in, far right, blah blah blah, hatred, yada yada yada, and then it goes to the vote. And I'm sitting there thinking, right, so there's at least two people in the room here that are voting for this motion. They're not voting, look in my head, I'm like, they're not voting for me. They're going to vote for the motion. They're going to support the motion, press the button. Everything starts going red. I'm like, right, Grant, this is how it's going to be. Obviously, I knew this going in, this was the situation. So sitting there and everything lights up red. It's all gone red. 39 votes against 1. And I'm like, right, okay. Aintu cannot be relied upon here to second motions. And then there's like conversations that happen, do you know what I mean, in passing and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, we can't be seen to be associated with you, but if we put the motion down, we can get it to the floor. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, do you think I'm a tick? I'm sorry, it winds me up. I'm like, do you think I'm a tick? Like, oh yeah, you take over. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you take over. Meanwhile, is at the type of organisation that'll sit there and take a lecture from someone else from another party about something that you were just talking in favour of. But yeah, the council's fun. Inside the chamber, it is fun. Like, the insight is insane, so it is.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's a very interesting story, and just to go back on a couple of points that you're making there, because we don't see all of it in the video, like there are hard edits, but I think what's very clear is that, like, when you're putting that motion forward, and initially it is supported, and then you get you know, as you said, what seems to be commentary going on there about the rights and wrongs of it, instead of just going and saying, yeah, okay, this is a simple figure that this guy is looking for, it's easy to give. Instead, they make a big deal out of it, and what ends up happening is it blows up on social media, and everyone sees then not only do ain't to, and they've been in the muck recently as well too with some of the silly things that's been said, particularly by Peter Taubin and the various other ones there. But then you've got Ellen Troy then as well, who's also now added into the fold of don't agree with what this guy is trying to do. It's a very simple situation. The people are around the constituencies. I get people from different constituencies that message me all of the time and tell me about new bills that are being put up. They can't afford it. People that are looking at houses, they're going to viewings. There's more non-nationals at these viewings than ever before. Then you've got entire estates that are full of people. There doesn't seem to be people that are now in these estates that are doing a day's work, because people are saying they're going through them at any given time. There's people just floating around, and they're like, "How are these people affording £300,000 and £400,000 houses? I should say euros." And then you have like the politicking that's going on and I mean that's a brilliant point that I just want to hone in on there, Patrick, that you made, was, you know, the Labour Party and members of that scolding someone from A2 is ironic to say the very least, given the fact of the history of the Labour Party with the likes of Eamon Gilmore, who talked a big talk and then got into the job and then fucked everyone over. Then you've got Alan Kelly, who's another horrible individual as far as I'm concerned. And you've got these people then that are taking it upon themselves to scold someone else, which is a very simple thing to look at the figures. But what happens is then when you have the figures, and as you know, they're just going to be pushed out and people are going to understand where we're at. This is a big problem, and it's something that we need to know. People aren't aware of the problems that are going to be happening in the future, which is an
information war all over the place.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's an information war. That's what it is. Like, and if you're in a position where you could not only control necessarily what people see now, don't worry, I'm not whipping out the tinfoil. We're not making a little hat here. I'm talking specifically about RTE, the national broadcaster. If you can have the national broadcaster essentially just sideline voices, like they say, like people who are anti-immigration, like that even in and of itself is like a nice little label, anti-immigration. Bossman, mass immigration areas, not only of Dublin, Longford, all over the shop, where the majority of the population were not even born here. Like, what's wrong with being against that? Like, this is Ireland, it's our homeland. We literally have countless generations of our ancestors buried in the soil. Every couple of 100 years or so, Irish men have asserted that right in arms. You know, like it's what's wrong with not wanting to become a minority in your own country? What's wrong with wanting to be a majority in your country and have a country that represents you, your beliefs, your culture, your way of life? Like, why do we have to be this cosmopolitan, multiracial, multicultural society? It doesn't serve anyone's best interest in the long run, because eventually when the melting pot boils down, all you're left with is this mass of people, and they just want a mass of people that are compliant, and they want to push people out that aren't compliant. So when it comes to the national broadcaster, they're never going to actually platform a dissenting voice. They might get someone on from some sort of like a college or specific panel or something like this and bring them on, and they might like, oh, it's the thin end of the wage or whatever, but like they're not actually going to bring on a dissenting voice. And then it's the same then when it comes to just asking for this type of information. It's like they control the narrative, and that's what it is. It's just narrative control, because information is power. I was having it out with we're having a back and forward with a few of the guys, and I'm like, lads, we need to be lashing TikTok out of it. We need to be on socials. We need to be jumping onto lives. We need to be platforming ourselves on the internet more than ever, because this is where they can't control the narrative. They can't control what people see on Twitter. They can't, come on, there's algorithms all over the place. But we know Twitter, and anyway, safe from a recent court case.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with the likes of the social media, and I love that point that you're at to bringing up there, because like you yourself went sort of social media viral when it came to the RTE panel that they had on, and they had a woman that had, I don't know whether she has one disability or numerous disabilities, but a lot of people were commenting, like on Twitter in particular, they were like the phenotype of the left-hand side, and it's this one, and she was actually nearly foaming at the mouth talking about yourself. And you've got Roderick O'Gorman in the same constituency. No care being shown towards him.
The electorate would be.
Yeah, and then it was just like, you know, and then it clips into like, you know, hello, I'm Patrick Quinlan, and like there was a bit of a chain behind it. But all the young lads in particular, like they get behind that and they see, like, this is the thing, and I suppose like saying, you know, I'm not that young of a lad myself, but when you have generations of people ahead of you and you're thinking that these people are going to be old and wise and look after you, and then you look at that council meeting, you see those people and they're actively the boomers that are turning against you, and people like there's people that are in that chamber that are related to people that can't buy a house here now in this country. That's the ironic thing, do you know what I mean? That are actually voting for more of it to occur and are greasing the wheels whatever way they can to make sure it occurs. Whereas you have yourself that's a young guy, you're a father obviously as well too, which is very important, and you're someone that's given a voice for that. So the social media aspect of it, like don't take it lightly. There's a lot to be done on those socials. A lot of people love them, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you were also go ahead.
No, go on, you crack on, because I'm flicking through the local Gazette here just to make a point later on if it comes up.
Okay. he's highlighting things as he's going on. I love to say, he's multitasking. He is there. So when you're in the council as well too, because I just want to kind of hone in on that, like, just to let people know as well too, the amount of work that goes into what you're doing as well. Like, can you tell people what has happened, like the positive things in particular that you have done as part of the council? You were saying to me before the show you were on a phone call for a number of minutes anyway, but like you have posted out pictures as well, helping people out in your constituency. So can you tell people what's going on with regards to that and what sort of things you guys can actually help with?
So over the last 5 years, like, I have just locked myself into the constituency. Like, just it's easy to do when you're from there and everyone already knows who you are, kind of way, or are very familiar with you. And then as well, kind of like, I suppose what helped me really build the platform, and this is something as well that I've been saying to the guys, and I'll definitely advocate to people to get out and get to your local demonstration, have a presence, take up the shift, and do what needs to be done just to show that you're there, you're supporting the community, you care about what's going on in your area. It was Mulhuddart, there was a protest. Now, people have a lot of points in time when all these kind of protests started. I have to bring it back. It all started in Blanchetown, Mulhuddart. There was a group set up on Facebook called How's the Irish Force, and that was the first group that actually started off. And they were protesting there for something like 56 days. And the reason they were protesting was there was this development being built. It was something like 100 houses / terraced houses being built in the area. And they knew, or they had a sneaking suspicion that these were going to get built and that locals weren't going to get them. So they were advocating the House the Irish Force, and then it was like 50-50. And then I'm sitting there with a few lads, and I wasn't even very political at this stage. It was just, what's going on up here? 100% support this. I know too many people from the area that have been picked up out of Blanche, moved over to the likes of Balbriggan and stuff like that, and just airdropped out of the community, away from the support network. And then, sure enough, that protest last 56 days. There was an injunction put on the protest, and that was it. That was it at that stage. It was early days, but it was the light. It was the spark that kind of ignited a lot of fire in a lot of people's heart to get them motivated, get them out, get them into their communities, get them demonstrating, get them politically active. And anyway, in that regard, that's what I would say. But that estate was built, and we canvassed it, and it's 80 of the houses are foreign born, and we knew this was going to happen, and it happened. But that's kind of building the profile in the area, being positive, coming out of that. We could have looked at that and we went, pure defeated. No, we took that. We started getting organised in the community and just started plugging away with the council, getting people housed. I suppose more accurately to your question, I'd say I did not get involved in politics to talk about footpaths, to talk about potholes. I got involved in politics because I'm concerned about the survival of the Irish race. That's why I'm involved in politics. I'm concerned about the survival of the Irish people. Our right to have a homeland is just being slowly eroded by all these soft policies. But with that said, you're trying to help people on whatever their concerns are. So representing people, making representation to the council for whatever it is. There was a bit of hedge trimming. Some dude had a hedge growing over his garden. Lads were out, do you know what I mean? Lads were out doing a canvas, and the lads are doing the canvas. They send me the information. I go, right, grand, lovely. Raise a task. send off the task, get an email back a few days later. That's been added to the job list. It's going to be done in 2 weeks. Grand, ring your man. This is getting done, and he's delighted. Fair play, it's getting done. Thanks very much for your help. And that's like we forget that there's a lot of ordinary, I'd say, centre of the road people, and they're not centre because they're mountain centre. They're centre of the road because they just want to be comfortable. They want to be happy. They see what's going on around them to some extent. They're not happy about it. They are looking for an alternative. But you can't just go straight to somebody and just start hammering them with ideology. You can't do that. Like, you're going to get that ideological base, and you're going to attract that ideological base. But then it's like, how do you expand out of that? And it's like, right, we have a councillor elected. Let's get plugged into the area as if we ever unplugged from the area. Get plugged into the area. We're back out on the doors. We're back canvassing. Like, I'd say we're the most dedicated political party in terms of like having lads on the ground, knocking doors. Like, lots of lads working in the party. Nearly everyone works in the party. Lots of family men, family women in the party and stuff like that. But everyone gives that hour a week to just get out into the local area, do a bit of leafleting, but then as well coming over, supporting me, knocking doors, over with Steve, knocking doors. You've seen Jan was out his way knocking doors because the plantation over in South Dublin. And in terms of what can councillors do, make a ruckus in like, I'd say the councillors, like, once you have a majority on the council and stuff like that, like, there's a bit of sway there, there's a bit of power there and stuff like that. Where I am in reality is I am just a headache for these people. I am the reason they are waking up in the night with a cold sweat thinking about the big bad far right. It's like, oh my God, they have someone elected. Wow, no. And it's like, yeah, I'm here. And guess what? Actually, no, like, guess what? I'm half normal. I will say hello to you when you're having a cup of tea and play mind games with you. No bother at all. How's your day? Oh, lovely. Do you know what I mean? And then it'll get into the council chamber and then there'll be something happening and then you pipe up. Do you know what I mean? Like, then you have a little bit of a pipe up. But you I suppose, kill them with kindness is what my mum would say, but at the same time, hold them to account when you can. Like, you have to pick your battles when you're going to have the battle. So we're still out in the constituency. We're still representing people. I mean, I have a little Excel file in front of me of what I'm keeping track of, all the work that I'm doing in the constituency in terms of, like, people getting in touch for X, Y, Z. And you can bet your left arm, and it's as long as your left arm, that the vast majority of that list of please help, what can you do for me, is housing. The main concern for people is housing, and then the secondary concern, because they can't find somewhere to live, or they can't get a house, is immigration, because they're realising, like, I mean, if every single ordinary Joe Soap in the country who is just trying to have a decent standard of living can understand supply and demand, why can't, like, central government understand supply and demand? Oh, let's just build more houses. Okay, but what about the demand side of things? What are we going to do about that? Oh, well, we're just going to keep bringing people in, you know?
Do you think yourself there's a sinister aspect to it when you're looking in the council? Like, I mean, the council is kind of like the ground level as to what's going on. Do you think that there's a sinister aspect to it, or do you think that these are just people that have their mouths in the trough and are just inept at what they do, or do you find that there's a bit more of a sinister vibe to it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I have feelings about things and conversations that I have with these people, like, because I do. This is the thing. It's like, I'm not just sitting there staring at them and growling or something. I know, but like, I'm normal, man. Like, I'll have a little bit of a breezy conversation with these people, and I'll pick things out, and I'll be like, right, boom, red flag. Write that down in the mental notebook. Right, that's a red flag. Write that down. How this person thinks, what way are they operating, what's motivating them, do you know what I mean? But like, sinister, it almost feels sinister. Like, it does. It almost feels sinister, because we literally have a situation right now in Ireland in 2025 where the checkbook was open, and whatever the cost was, we built modular housing for Ukrainians. Planning permission be damned. Hotels were converted into DP centres. Warehouses were being converted in, like, they're literally warehousing partners. Like, warehouses were turned into DP centres, and they were lashed into there. But then you have a case where there was a lad who built a log cabin or a cabin on his land, or he had a trailer or something on his land, and he gets brought to court. You can't have that. And now Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and this group of independents who's now propping up the government are like, oh, we're going to relax planning laws, so you Irish person can live in a modular house out your parents' back garden. Meanwhile, we're going to have a lot of foreign nationals living on manors.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna have all like it feels that way. It definitely feels sinister, malevolent. Do you know what I mean? Like, it definitely feels somewhat that way. It's hard not to look at it that way. Like, from the position I'm in, the length of time we've been involved in politics, and I'm looking at the way the system is rigged against Irish people. Like, me oldest sister's generation, there's people in that generation, talking 10 years ago, like, there's people from that generation, and the vast majority of them own a house. It's not even like social housing. The vast majority of them own a house that I know personally. Now, I'm not speaking from like the gospel here, like, just talking to people, nearly everyone owns a house or does have a house. But then it's as you come down through the generations, and you come down through the next generation, you get to me. It's like someone puts up a post on Facebook, just bought a house, and I'm like, my God, fair play. I don't know what you're after doing. Like, I don't know what you're after sacrificing, like, literally any and everything, and just squandering every single penny. Or maybe your family's minted, like Leo Varadkar suggested when he was Taoiseach, just get a gift off them to buy a house. And like, that's it. Definitely, like, it feels sinister. It feels malevolent. It feels like the game is rigged against us. But with that said, the game's only rigged against us if we sit idle, if we decide to do nothing. But if we decide, like, I don't know how many people are tuned into this live, but if you look at Twitter comments and like that, you're talking videos going viral and stuff, and thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views, thousands of likes, loads of retweets. Like, how many people from that can get out onto the road and not get out protesting, get out and march straight away or whatever, because we're always calling for protests. I call them protest junkies, people that just go to protest for the crack going to a protest. But like, get out and get on the doors and knock and convince people that Ireland is worth saving, and that you don't have to accept this. You can get politically active. You can join the party. You can get people elected who are going to fight your corner and not give up, and not just be like, oh, this is insurmountable, I'm just going to crumble under the pressure and leave or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Or not torn up and stuff like this. It's like, it can't, Ireland can't be saved. It's worth saving. And like, if the online presence translated to a physical presence on the ground, the nationalist movement would rival the water protests, and the left are fully aware of that, and we're seeing a lot of these types of I'd say adjacent type parties kind of pulling into the anti-immigration, anti-mass immigration, but that's just damage control. But like, the horse is out of the stables. Like, the horse is out of the stables. People are aware of what's going on, but it's just getting people from online to the physical world, knocking the doors and just convincing people on the doors. Like, the turnout for the vote was ridiculously low. Do you know what I mean? Like, the turnout for the vote was ridiculously low. I think it was lower than last time out. But it's getting people like convinced, like, that Ireland's worth saving, and like, you're not voting for the politician. Like, we're not politicians. I'm elected. I'm not a politician. And like, and lads do say that I'm putting myself down, but in my head, like, I'm just still Paddy Quinlan from Blanche. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't changed. Like, I've always kind of cared about my country, like, cared about the way things are. Like, and people are like this, but they need a political vehicle to get behind that can change it. And absolutely. The only way they get away with it is if we allow them, you know?
And I 100% agree with you. And I mean, even coming from the November election, like, I pointed out a couple of things that were strange at the time, like the taping of doors and stuff like that, and then the ballots been left for as long as they have been overnight. But one of the things, and I discussed actually on the day when I came home, I put up a tweet on Twitter and I said, has anybody been asked for ID at the polling station? And I was flooded with comments of people saying, no, I haven't been asked for ID at all. I personally, and other people witnessed as well, Foreign Nationals actually voting in that election there in November. Like, that's, you know, in my opinion, that is a very serious matter, because as you said there's people that have fought and died for the vote and fought and died for our country, and yet you've got people that have wandered into the place that have been given citizenship, some of them, and then others then that are just, you know, floating around. There was comments as well too, commentary online about people that got 2 and 3 and 4 different types of leaflets into the door with voting cards. Like, that's a huge problem. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the council election was sort of the tester, and also then the referendum. My opinion is this, again, we were talking about the tinfoil earlier on, but I put on the tinfoil suit, no problem. We like Iron Man going around with tinfoil on. But like, the referendum and the council to me was a big tester to see, for them, to see what sort of numbers they were dealing with. And I think personally in November, I think what they did was they did an awful lot of things that were very suspect. And I mean, you just have to point, in my view, to what happened in the inner city constituency and also the Dublin 15 one. First and foremost, how does Marie Sherlock get in ahead of Maddy Steenson and Jared Hutch? This is just as an aside. And then you've also then got yourself then, how in the name of God does Roderick O'Gorman get a seat as a TD and Paddy Quinlan doesn't? It's a mockery as far as I'm concerned. But what you were talking about there, and just to go back onto that point there of people helping out as well and about canvassing, how can people help out, or how can they get in touch about canvassing? What should they do?
nationalparty.ie/join is like the easiest. It's the easiest way to get in touch with the party, and then like, it's not only like canvassing, it's like there's roles that are there. Like, everyone has a role to play. Literally everyone has a role to play. Like yourself, for instance, with the online presence and the streams and giving people a platform and an opportunity to speak. There's graphic designers, there's people who edit videos. There's all this kind of thing, like, and people can slot in and plug away at the movement. And knocking doors, like, we've lads that go around and we team up, and it's like one lad is holding the leaflet because he's a little bit less confident, and then there's a lad that's doing the talking, and then the other lad kind of, this is the thing, the other lad walks up the courage then, because he's able to kind of like bounce off the interaction then that the person who's stronger on the door, having a conversation, answering a couple of questions. Like, what's funny about it is you get a couple of questions or whatever, but the vast majority of the people, when you talk to them on the doors, they agree with you. They agree with you. It's quite literally just getting them out to vote, and it's very frustrating, because I reckon a lot of people on our side, on the nationalist side, didn't get the result that we were looking for purely because our voter base didn't go to the ballot. You know, like, en masse didn't go to the ballot. Like, you're gonna have your diehards, you're gonna have people that are with you from the jump, you're gonna have people that jump on board, but the vast majority didn't turn out to vote. That's my belief. You know, that kind of, that's my belief. Is that putting everyone down? No. It's all right. We live, we learn. We're still in the game. Like, we're not written off. Once one of us still has breath in our lungs and is determined to take the country back, we will take the country back. Like, this is my viewpoint on it. It's like, it's not over. It's like, have all these people, like, all these voices online and stuff like that, they're just blackpilling all the time, just blackpilling. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm after having a deadly conversation with someone on the door today. That's someone else that's aware of what's happening, and they're gonna join, they're gonna get active. And then you see them join, you see them get active, and you're like, oh, hope, like, constant. Like, there is hope, and that's the main thing. Like, don't lose hope. There's nothing to lose from giving up. Like, there's everything to lose if you give up, but you have nothing to lose if you just keep going. You just keep going, you just keep plugging away, and you keep trying to get more people on board with the nationalist movement.
Yeah, no, fully agree, and that's the thing. Like, I hear what you're saying as well too about people blackpilling as well. But like, the thing from the November situation was, I thought personally myself, on the viewing of it, I thought he did outrageous things, and I thought the fact that what happened after the fact, when it came out that 500,000 people were under-registered and they didn't know who they were, if they were actually alive, if they were unalive, or whatever it might be. Like, that to me is crazy. And I do think, like, the increase of positions from the likes of Simon Harris from 15th count in the first one to this one being the fourth count, I think is very suspect. I also think Helen McEntee rising 2,000 votes allegedly, I think is also very strange. But that's just my viewpoint on the whole situation. But I do think the fact that there are outlandish things happening, I think does prove that the nationalist movement is on the move. And I mean, you get the Red C poll that they say 75% of people are unhappy with the immigration situation. And the thing is, and what you guys are hammering home as everybody else, is that the immigration situation is causing all of the other problems, which is housing crisis, health crisis, school crisis, you name it. These
Dublin
things are
Bay,
exasperating this problem.
Dublin Bay is quite literally littered in human feces because the population or the infrastructure can't keep up with the size of the population. Like, these are the things they're dealing with.
That's the sewerage situation, is it? Is that the one?
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah.
So, like, when something like that occurs as well, like, is there a great movement within the council to get that sorted, or are they just like, fuck it, let's pretend this isn't happening?
See, this is the thing. They can build all the infrastructure they want. They can build as many houses as they want. I don't want them filled with foreign nationals. And they're always, what about the diaspora? It's like, yeah, bring the diaspora home. You want to build skyscrapers in Dublin City to accommodate 30 million Irish people. All right, let's figure out a game plan. How are we going to bring these people home? How are we going to accommodate them? Like, perfect, no problem at all. It's called being a homogenous society, so it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the diaspora is something that they honestly do try to use against you. And like you're saying there as well, the attitude is bring them home. Like, that's no problem. But like, Ahmed and Abdul, astronauts, we don't need astronauts. We're happy enough to be doing what we're doing, And I would rather around people, around nurses, around doctors, being around hospitals. I mean, only today did you have an article come out about this guy, Dr. Jabber. Have you seen this? Have you seen this article?
I saw something along that line, yeah.
So this guy was involved with the state pathologist. He was involved at the state pathologist.
And he screwed up on like two murder inquests or something like this.
It's crazy stuff, and they're going after him,
Madness, man.
And now they're saying he's operating, I think, in Dubai or somewhere else. They said that has a capital punishment for people that commit heinous crimes, which I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. But he did label them as corrupt and inept and all that. And I thought that was quite funny, to say the very least, because I'd say there's a bit of mudslinging on both sides. But anyway, that was just an aside. Another thing I wanted to bring up as well, Patrick, is that you were talking about protests as well. And another video, like, we're talking about the viralness, and I think this is probably where, like, the crux of things are going on now, about people putting stuff up online. There was a viral video. You were looking very dapper in the pink short. It's not my choice. It wouldn't be my personal choice wearing the pink short. But you were out in Killock, and the viral video went
sexuality than you were. That's all it is.
That's the girls. The girls are definitely giving you a bit more confidence to wear the pink there for sure. But a viral video went out there, and it was in Killock. Can you tell people what went on there? Because it was something that I thought, like, and an awful lot of other people thought, like, there's a young lad now that's out there, and he's talking to the state enforcers with batons, and he's saying the things that we're all thinking. So, like, can you go through what went on the day and what was the fallout from that?
I was in work, finished my shift, went over to Killock, heard the place was being planted, went over to Killock, have a look. I got there, and like, I'm just floating around, like, at the start, just having a look, and the guard already had the place completely on lockdown, and riot cops absolutely everywhere. And I'm just kind of having a look, assessing the situation, see what's going on. And then just as the day went on, and it's like the orders to disperse to different groups around the place are going out. It's like you see, like, in real time, like, what the state is capable of. And this is like when I get talking about, like, protests and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, have a protest, but at the same time, when you're facing down a squadron of Gardaí, like, you have to be smart. Like, you have to, like, obviously no one went there thinking they were going to be macing old folks, macing people with disabilities, macing kids. Like, no one thought any of that was actually going to happen, like, when the boot of the state was coming down. But, like, just as the day kind of went on then, and it's like your curiosity then is getting the better of you. Like, you're walking around and you're seeing different scuffles happening between, like, just ordinary, decent, working class people, and they're concerned about what's going on in the area. Like, there was one situation now, there's a clip online but snipped just as this sort of happens. It's like a girl. I'd say like there's like a bush, and then there's like a gate entrance to that little park there, and it's like there's a little Garda line, and they're macing everybody and pushing everybody back, and clearing the area. And it's like I'm standing there and I see a girl, she gets pushed, and then a phone goes flying out of her hand. But a phone goes flying out of her hand, and it lands about 4 feet away from the Garda. And like I'm walking up, and I'm like, a phone, and I'm pointing at the ground. I'm like, a phone, just let me get a phone, like literally, boom, I'm just getting a phone. I'm no threat to you. That's all I'm getting. Do you know? And I'm going over, and that's when I first got pepper sprayed. I was like, right, I'm getting maced now. What the fuck? Got a phone anyway. Sorry for the language. Got a phone anyway.
No, further ahead.
Brought the phone back over for shit. Thank you. I'm like, yeah, no hassle. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, they wouldn't let you get your phone, like, they were probably looking to not need a court order to seize that one. But days going on, and then it's I don't know. Genuinely I don't know. Like, I was in autopilot when I started getting pushed and shoved and maced. Do you know that kind of, like, I was in autopilot, and it was only like watching back at the video myself, because I'm like, right, how much danger, physical danger was he? Not in danger of like getting arrested or anything like that at all. Like, you think that you go into guard custody and you're relatively safe. And I say that like with like quotations, like, you're relatively safe. Like, you're not in danger. Your life's not in danger. You're not gonna be bruised and beaten and battered. That kind of way. You're gonna be booked and charged and put in a cell and whatever. But it was kind of like watching it over to think, like, how much danger was I actually in? And it was, leave the area, Section 8 public order. And like, I'm doing what I'm doing or whatever, and then it's like, I heard the order off the whoever it was, off the head guard, and he's giving the order, and then it's like, bang, the public order, the riot squad, they're going into automaton mode. Like, you're not dealing with people anymore. Like, you're dealing with agents of the state who are just going to force the political will. And this is the thing, like, this is a political thing that they're doing. They are politically choosing to plant the country. And they say that's charged language. Well, lad, there's an iPad centre in nearly every single town and village across the country with God knows who in them. And it's like, oh, they're better. It's like, no, they're not. I'll get to that. We can touch on that in a little while if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the call goes out, and I'm like, right, you know what I mean? It's like you're standing in front of like 40 guards, and like, that kind of way. Then they start advancing, and like, I'm like, right, I'll turn and like cover the face, because I don't want to get maced again in the eyes. That's nasty. And turn and then bang, shield. That kind of way. And I'm like, right, I'll walk down the road. In my head, I'm like, I'll walk down. I'll be in order to leave the area. Grand. I'm going to walk down the road. But I'm going to walk down the road like a man. I'm not going to run and scatter and scare for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I'll walk down the road. No problem at all. Leave the area, okay. Walk down the road. Getting pushed. Nearly get pushed to the ground. Glasses come out of my face. Bend down to pick up my glasses. And I'm bending down to pick up my glasses. I'm like, right, I'm going to get hooked off the ground. Doesn't happen. I'm like, right, grand. In my head, I'm thinking like this. That this is like, I don't know. I have like a little bit of spatial awareness around me of what's happening around me. So I'm like, well, I'm getting shoved to the ground. Grand, how am I going to fall? Doing this in my head very quick. I'm like, great. Glass in my hand, like, great, grand. Danger averted. Keep walking. And I'm walking. Bang, shield. Bang, shield. And I should say, actually, the minute I stood up, someone comes up with a camera. I didn't even know your man was there. It's like, are you all right, Paddy? Are you all right, Paddy? Straight away, like, I'm in autopilot. Doesn't matter. And in my head, I'm like, it doesn't matter what they do to me as an individual, because the Irish people can't be stopped collectively. Like, we can't. We were a headache for the largest and strongest empire that the world has ever seen. Like, we were an absolute headache for them for the better half of 800 years. Like, we just would not go defiantly into that quiet night like they want us to. And it doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. Because as Pierce said, cracking on, like, it's still getting pushed, still getting riot shield. And then, like, I'm 40 meters down that road, and the guard, one of the guards, you can hear it in the video, and I don't know if you can see it, but my head turns them because I can hear them. and I'm looking for the glove. I'm looking for, they're going to grab me, right? This is it. They're grabbing me. Now I move. Do you know, boom, now I move. Like, I boxed for a long time, and I encourage lads to get physically active, be strong, be fit, be capable, develop those type of skills, like be spatially aware, be able to like protect yourself with the measurable level of defense needed to protect yourself at any given moment. So I heard it. Lift them, lift them, lift them. And look, see the hand coming 180, and I say what I say, and the guard has a nasty trip. And to me, I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, that's it, now I'm getting lifted on after making a show of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, my door's going in, like, I've kids, what's going to happen? And I'm worrying. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no, if that happens, then so be it. I know the only reason my door's going in is because they're after getting made idiots of. I was walking down the road, 40 meters, everything. I was following their instruction. Might have been very slow to do it and not doing it in their type of way that they wanted me to do it, i.e. sprint away, you know. And what happened. The guy fell. I was like, I'm going, and yeah, do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I'm not getting anywhere with this. Like, I'm not getting anywhere here. Like, I'm just getting battered and maced. And at this stage, I was getting maced for like 3 hours, 4 hours. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and when I say getting maced, I don't mean I was getting ordered to leave the area. I mean, for instances, when myself and the other councillors went up, you know what I mean? And we're like, here, look, let's have a conversation. The people are mad, and all of us got pepper sprayed straight away. Pepper sprayed, like, just, do you know what I mean? So even elected representatives trying to have that little bit of a liaison with the Gardaí, like, was just shut down immediately. And to me, that's what kind of like sparked everything off then, when people were going absolute like bananas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't think they'd be pepper spraying Angela Donnelly or Jimmy Gearan or Hazel Chew. You know what I mean? I don't think they'd be doing that. You know, I don't think there's a chance of that.
No. It turned into the little paper scissors, kumbaya, let's all hold hands. And, you know what I mean? Well,
absolutely.
They wouldn't be pepper spraying them, because these types of politicians are part of parties who are pushing for the plantation of Ireland. It's just maybe it's happening too fast and people are noticing. That's the kind of vibe I get off all these other political organisations. It's happening too fast. People are starting to notice, and we need as many people to not notice and not understand what's happening. You know what I mean? That you're effectively being disenfranchised in your own country, because on a local level, when it comes to a local level, foreign nationals from EU countries are able to vote in local elections. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then they're able to stand for local elections as well. Do you know? So like, I'd be saying to people, when you have a foreign national running in local politics, who do you think's voting for them? And what constituencies are they running in? Do you know what I mean? They're not running in constituencies that are vast majority Irish people in the constituency. Do you know what I mean? Or unless it's a mad liberal constituency, like it's a DBS or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. But it's I don't know. Killock was definitely an experience. It's an experience that I wouldn't really wish on anybody else to be dealing with. Like, 3 hours maced, 6 hours had mace on my skin, and yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, the locals were great. They looked after me. There was milk, there was ice cream, and you know what I mean? Like, there's great people in Killock, and I hate that tarring the whole area with brush, because I'm from a work class area. I know what it's like to walk around, be labelled the minute you open your mouth. Do you know what I mean? Like, the minute you open your mouth and you start talking, it's the wrong accent. You know what I mean? You talk with too much. There's too much Dublinese in your voice. Like, you know, do you know what I mean? They're like, don't judge other people. Meanwhile, they're all judging us.
That's it. We were being slagged there earlier on there. We were 15 minutes late to start the live stream, and people were like, these two fellas from North Dublin down all the time. I was like, this is outrageous. You know I'm like all the time. But no, we have a good laugh about that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, look, the stuff that went on in Killock as well, I think was a tipping point for a lot of people around the country, and in particular in that area, that they won't forget what went on and how they are now in an area of uncertainty and, I would say, lacking safety, because now that they are trying to airdrop these guys in, and it's not just there, it's also in a place near enough to where your constituency is as well, Thornton Hall. They're looking to do something very similar there, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I floored. I should say more correctly, I tried to get a motion to the floor about Thornton Hall and doing a similar thing that a councillor in, I think it was Athlone did, was this, you asked me at the start of the conversation, like, what can councillors do? So councillors have, apart from like advocating for constituents and trying to get things solved for them, or, you know, putting perspectives out about housing, or when the topic comes up and you can plug in immigration, like, we have a set of reserve functions that the councillors have, and we can kind of push for particular things. And one of them is a reserve function, barring the erection of a temporary structure. And now Tent City is a temporary structure. In Athlone, it was successful, and I tried to bring the motion into the Fingal chamber. Was it going to get supported? Do you know what I mean? I thought it would have got to the floor. I thought there was somebody there that would have brought it to the floor, if only to scald me. Do you know that? If only to scald me and call me a bigot and whatever. But no, they didn't even want to have the discussion. So like, they don't even want to talk about it. But these are reserved functions. So like, it's like, oh, the council doesn't have any real power. It's like, it actually does to a certain extent. There's some powers there that the councillors have that we can do. The problem is there's only one nationalist in that chamber. You know.
Yeah, that's a very key point that you're making there, because when the next council elections come up, that's why Patrick is talking about, and I just want to make this wider point. That's why Patrick is talking about getting involved, guys, because you can be someone that will challenge a Jimmy Gearin in his area, and Angela Donnelly in her area. You know, the other people that are hanging around in that council that are shutting these questions and motions down. I mean, I know for a fact, and I mean, that's why, like, I'm not having to ask the question, because I already know the answer that's going to happen. Like, you know, what can we do to shut down these iPad centres? What can we do to shut down this, that, and the other? Like, these are all valid questions that the chat are asking, but, like, you're literally a lone gunslinger in this place of, like, absolute, it's like the Star Wars quote, never would you see more a place of such scum and villainy. And then you're just there, the gunslinger. You're like Obi-Wan Kenobi going into the place going, what's happening here? And it's a real eye-opener. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really is.
It really is. Like, we can. So I was saying earlier as well, like, you know, all smiles and like, oh, how's your day? Like, to me, yeah, that's mind games. I'm freaking about. And the reason I'm freaking about is because I'm just being petty. I'm just being normal. I'm just being nice. Do I like your politics? Absolutely not. Do you know what I mean? Do I like your political party? Absolutely not. But it's not going to stop me standing there and talking to you, and hopefully you say something that you didn't want to tell me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, you have to be clever with this, because they're playing those games with the entire population, and I'm in there trying the absolute best to do what I can do. Do you know what I mean? Like, to advance the nationalist cause. Like, yeah, having protests, having a presence. Like, there has been places that haven't got planted because of protests. When I'm talking about protests, I'm talking about, let's have a national protest every second week. It's a bit like, oh, let's gather the people. We have to gather the people. Do you know what I mean? Like, people aren't being gathered because there's a Facebook post about, oh, this protest for this and this protest for that. The people are gathered through people like myself, normal people, just putting their head above the parapet and opening their mouth and starting to talk about it, building networks in their community, building that structure of a functioning coming, that when something's going on in the area, we can get it done. Do you know what I mean? Council won't do it, we'll do it. There's something happened. There's the aquatic centre, the national sports campus there, that's been used as the direct vision centre. Let's go over there. Let's bring a bit of awareness about that. Let's bring a bit of awareness about that. Let's have a conversation with, you know, whoever's in the building. Like, these things happened in the constituency. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not trying to put anyone down when I say about protests. And what I'm saying is gather the people. Gathering people to your cause, to your banner, to your flag is more important than just going to a protest every week. Like, it really, really is. Being out, locked into the constituency. I know all these organisations, all these small little tidy towns and stuff like this, and local community clubs and whatnot, really, like, they're littered with people who are anti-nation, they're anti-Ireland. Like, they want this globalist cosmopolitan worldview to come to fruition. Not realising that they're sowing the seeds of their own demise. Like, get involved in your local community. get involved in your local community, have conversations with people, build that network around you. And then when it comes to a plantation centre being in your area, you can have a 24/7 presence. You have 100 people on standby that will go and stand there in front of riot cops and be like, right, they're not going in. Or then, unfortunately, in the case, because we know the state is absolutely vehement that this happens, you have Newtown, Mount Kennedy. You have people standing on their own private property with Gardaí entering it, spraying them with mace, calling them cowards. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have this that's happening then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the thing. Like, you've got situations like those occurring, and it's a massive build up. And like, as we already know, that these situations and these small, I wouldn't use the word battles anyway, but what I would say is these skirmishes and these issues are all building towards a bigger issue, and I think maybe particularly as well a political breakthrough. Like, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people on this side of the fence, like the fact that you're a councillor and we've gotten other people into council positions as well, and that looks like a good stepping stone and stepping point to go into the future. Like, that was not possible 10 years ago, and now you've got a guy like yourself in there, like I said, that at the very least is rattling the cage. And as you've said as well, like, you need more people in that council chamber to be backing that. Like, we've all seen the soft belly of the people that are there surrounding you, and we know now for a fact that none of those people are going to be supporting motions to be opposing these IPAS centres in your local constituencies or anything like that. So the idea is that when the next one rolls around, like you were saying, get involved and run for these positions. You might have a frame of mind that's similar to Paddy's here, and you might differ on certain politics and policies and stuff like that, and that's fine. But
yeah,
ultimately,
man, if you agree with me on everything I said, we're building a cult of personality. And that's not healthy for the movement either. Like, we need people like that don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything. Like, I know people like their top priority is something else, and I'm like, my top priority is that I do not become a minority in my own country, because when that scale tips, everything else is going to hell. Like, you know, like,
sure.
That's it. Everything else is going to hell. Once we're minorities in our areas, that's it. Game over. That's the
but
game
like you were
over.
saying about Jan there as well earlier on, like, you have the Papadom gang that are out in whatever the name is, they're out in Tallaght, and you're like, that's insane that there was a father and a son running for an election here in Ireland, and you're like, what is going on in this country?
Like when we talk, like, I suppose, like, when I look at like getting elected, like, and how it was done, like, I'm happy to help people and give them an idea. Like, there's other lads that are in the party that are stepping forward and going, I think I want to run in a couple of years' time. And I'm like, right, grand, go to the gym. Right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, go to the gym, do something, be physically active, because through physical activity, mental fortitude sets in. And once you have the mental resilience and you're like, right, I can actually navigate this. Now what do I do? You have a look, right, where are you? Do you know what I mean? What's around you? How do you get these things done? Who do you need to link up with? Who's a strong voice in your area that's against this already? Do you know what I mean? And start building that network. Like Blanche Mulhutter, and I don't want to say the vast majority of the constituency. I mean, if you want to say the vast majority of the constituency is part of National, there's like inside the local electoral area, there's like little sub-districts on the census map. And when you look at the little sub-districts, like 46% of like 8 of the 12 areas of that constituency are foreign born. And I'm looking at these numbers and I'm thinking, right, the population size, the amount of people that are there, can we get elected? This is what I was thinking like 6 years ago. When that election happened, I was thinking, right, because the election happened, and then I got motivated to do something. Sent an email to the party. Do you know what's happening? Boom, 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 boom. And for the start, gas. At the start, it was a bit like, but then it's like, no, come on, give me the leaflets. I'm going out, bang. And myself and two of my mates just plugged into the constituency, leaflet. The white paper on direct provision came out. Let's run a petition. Do you know what I mean? We ran the petition, and people would be like, oh, the petition didn't do it. We're facing an absolute Goliath. Do you know, an absolute Goliath, a temple built on like a false god and a false ideology, everything that is against the Irish people and against like just humanity. In my head, I'm like, this is what like it's a do you know what I mean? This is what we're looking at. So it's like, yeah, did we get anywhere with petitions? Did the white paper happen? Yeah, the white paper happened. Did we get anywhere with petitions? Some people would say no. I'd say yes, absolutely. We collected data. We knew in certain areas that there was this amount of people that agreed with the message of the National Party, and when it's you're going through these little campaigns, these little cycles, and you're building your path to victory, you're laying the foundation, you're laying down the cobblestone, you're getting there, and you're looking, and you're going, right, for the size of the area, for the amount of work that we can put into the constituency, for the demographic of the area, we probably have the best chance of getting someone elected here. I didn't even run in my home constituency. And I know Blanche is a fairly small place, and it's a local election and stuff like that. But those kind of things do actually play into it. Like, I didn't run inside my actual constituency where my estate is, where I was born and reared my entire life. Why? Because the people who draw the boundaries, the people who control the narrative, decided that a specific set of 7 or 8 working class areas have to get lumped in with Castleknock, a place that returned Roger O'Gorman. So I'm looking at the maths and the stats, and I'm like, right, run here, we get someone elected. And it's like once you kind of take that little step back out of it, and you kind of like step out of it, and you have a look, and you go, right, this is the area I'm going to contest. I want to get elected because I want to represent the people, because they deserve a voice that's going to represent them. Now, how do we do it? And then you get out, you knock doors, you link up with people in your area, you get involved in your local community, you get involved in your local community groups, and you just take it from there. And by the grace of God, people turn out and vote.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's the thing. And what you're talking about there about being physically active as well is hugely important, and that's something I often say on the channel as well. Like,
even going for a walk.
You look at the guys in the ball, and you're like, none of them would be able to step inside the ring. And like you're talking about the boxing there earlier on as well, and I just wanted to bring that point back up that you made earlier on, because that's a hugely important one in the current situation that we're in right now, is the ability to be able to look after yourself and handle yourself, and not only handle yourself but also your family as well, and make them aware of the very real and present dangers that are in society now due to the fact of this government and what they've brought in. I mean, you've only seen the incident there in Stoney Batter Record. You've seen the incident in town there that happened as well, and they've pinched a couple of people now on suspicion of that. But like, ultimately, the guy that was the astronaut that's no longer with us now, he is a guy that was wanted in Italy. And then the guys that are being looked at are also guys with a litany of potential offences, allegedly speculatively on that one. So you've got a lot of issues, and that's just one. That to me is just one issue that exemplifies exactly what the problem is here in this country, is that it's been run roughshod. Money's been handed out to people left, right, and centre. There's a story that shows that they're breaking tonight now that says a Pakistani man used Pakistan, funny country that I've been highlighting over the last couple of videos, 240.5 million people. You've got a guy called Imran Khurshid that's running on the fact that he's allegedly a minority. Umar Al-Qadri, another one as well, both guys from Pakistan. But a Pakistani man using a fake Afghan passport for a sham asylum claim and €43,000 welfare fraud. Like, €43,000 is a year's wages. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a lot of people.
That's the national average according to the CSO. Actually, that's the national average according to the CSO. So
there you go. Like,
you want €43,000 a year? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know, you're a councillor, you're on the drain now as well, blah, blah, blah. Man, I wasn't on €43,000 a year for the best part of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was lucky if you were getting 32 grand. Like, this is the thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like the cost of everything's going up, the price of literally everything's going up, but like inflation and blah blah blah. Like, where's the wages? Where's the wage increases? Like, and not the 75 cent or the 50 cent. Do you know, like, where's the actual raise of the wages to keep up with this? It's like they don't want you to have good quality of living, so they don't.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, we've seen that over the storm weeks. I mean, there you go. You got people that had no power across in Galway and various other counties, and yet there was migrants that were moved from hotels because it wasn't cushy enough for them. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable what's going on. But like you're saying there as well, like, I've seen
videos of lads, you know what I mean, going around doing collections, dropping supplies out to the old folks and stuff like that. Like, that's what I mean when I'm talking about getting involved in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like, or doing stuff like that. Like, find something that needs to be done. Like, these people need looking after. The government hadn't got a plan to look after them. It was ordinary Irish people that went out of their way to make sure they were looked after. And stuff like that has to be commended.
For sure, and like you're saying as well, people do remember that as well, and that's why the government, as you said earlier on, are pivoting towards an awful lot of the messaging that you guys are putting out there, and various other people that are putting out there as well about the immigration problem, like that they have caused themselves, you know, and like being physically fit and active as well. Like you said,
problem now. Here's our solution.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the thing. And like, you know, it's something that I always find funny, which is, you know, we're the ones that cause the problem. We're going to fix the problem. Whereas you're like, well, let's not have the problem exist altogether. So just like speaking, I suppose, to the men that are out there as well, because, you know, masculinity is a very much so important part of this movement. When you were speaking about martial arts and defenses and all that, you know, that's something that you find obviously very interesting personally yourself. So you said you boxed as well too. Do you do kickboxing as well, or is it just boxing?
No,
are you still active with it,
but I figure like I'm more muscle on my legs than I do the rest of my body. So if something's going to put something down, it's going to be one of these, like, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. So are you still active with the boxing now? What are you doing?
I still train, yeah. Still train. Like, of course, yeah. Like, I was in the gym today. Do you know what I mean? Like, am I training to be Arnie? Absolutely not. Do you know what I mean? What am I training for? Like in my mind, I'm training because I want to stay fit, because I want to have that. Like, it's like some of the lads that know about this, like a couple of the lads probably tuning in from the party know about this, but there's a thing called the 75-day hard challenge. 75-day hard challenge. I'd encourage people to check it out and try it. It's 75 days. It's like, you have 2 workout sessions in the day. Not a lot of people can do that, because not a lot of people even work out. So even if you've done 1 45-minute session a day for 75 days, read a couple of pages of a book, drink your water, do you know what I mean? Stay off the drink and stuff like this. Get into an ice bath. Like, do that for 75 days straight. And like, have, like, I have a whiteboard here. I'm looking at it, and it's like all the days crossed out on the whiteboard. And it's like, you need to do that. Like, and it's not because I'm getting ready for a knock. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm doing this because I want to be better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's benefits to doing this kind of stuff. There's benefits to going to the gym. There's benefits to getting into the ice water. There's benefits to getting out and running around. It's like, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. And the reason I have to do it is because it's a commitment I'm making to myself to discipline myself. A lot of people have a lot of passion, a lot of want, a lot of drive, but like, you have to have that discipline. Like, I'm telling the truth when I say this. I spent a good few minutes getting riot shielded, a good few minutes, like, it's the best part of half of the day, getting maced. When I turned, did it go through my mind? It connected that right hand? Absolutely. What stopped me? Discipline. Like, straight out, what stopped me? Discipline stopped me. I can't do that, because I do that, game over, Paddy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, just step back, move back, quickly, just, I'm going, get away from me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, the best way to defend yourself is to get yourself out of the situation. Like, that came with, like, discipline. Do you know what I mean? Like, that came with discipline. The best way to defend yourself is to get out of the situation. If I'm somewhere, like, hypothetical, like, we can't talk about hypothetical situations, but I know what we have to do. If I saw something happen, like, if I saw a kid getting attacked, you're not going to stand there. You're going to run over, you're going to grab your cell, you're going to launch him to the floor, you're going to stick a knee in his back, and you're going to bend his arm and make him very uncomfortable. Like, this kind of thing. But it's like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, get geared up for it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, get disciplined. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like I'm going out looking for something, but it's like, I'm confident enough. I walk tall, I walk, like, chin up, chest out. Do you know what I mean? Like, chin up, chest out, be proud. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Like, yeah, I'm a nationalist. I love my country. I love my people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. They can all hate me all they want. Do I hate them? Hate's a very strong word. Like, hate to me is a very strong word. I don't really hate a lot of people. I dislike a lot of people, and I hate their politics. I hate their viewpoints. But do I hate them as actual physical human beings? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a weird one. It is to me. It's kind of like a weird one, and I am like, I'm speaking from the heart, and this is what happens when I do that. I just ramble. But it's like, lift weights, go to the gym, join a club. I can't stress that enough. Like, join a club Like, get out, go to your local club. Like, I've lived in a couple of places, and like, it's if you feel isolated, if you feel on your own, like, lads are dropping like flies, like, you know, like like, lads are dropping like flies. Like, and mental health is in crisis, and all we get is all this pageantry about let's throw loads of money at it. Mental health is not a problem that you're going to solve with money. Am I saying, like, let's roll back all critical services, let's roll back all counselling and stuff like that? Absolutely not. But why can't we explore different avenues, right? Come on, we have this program. We get you in here, get you into the gym, lift your weights. Do you know what I mean? And like, have people that are like getting paid money to rock up to your house on the day you're feeling bad and go, do you know what I mean? Is Joey coming out? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's Joe. Come on, we're building something here. Come on, now we're getting you better. Come on, boom, let's go. Do you know what I mean? And give people a purpose and a reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, to feel good about themselves. But that's what lifting weights does. And that's, like, I'm not stuck just there. As I said, I'm not trained to be Arnie. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trained to be Arnie. I'm not even training for a knock. But like, if something was to find me, I'm not going to go gently. Do you know, I'm not going to go gently. And that's the mentality I'd say have. Like, if you're a nationalist, it's like you have a duty to yourself to look after yourself, to be able to like look after yourself. Do you know what I mean? And that's not like, oh, look after yourself and, you know what I mean, like, whatever, and just have row and barneys with people. It's like, look after yourself, be mentally strong, be resilient, have that fortitude, have that confidence in yourself to say, no, I don't need to smack you a right hand and end up with a shitload of charge sheets and in jail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. It's like you said there, it's gone back on the discipline as well too, and I think that's an important thing, and it sort of factors into your politics there as well, that we've seen throughout the show, which is like, as you're saying there as well too, about hating the person and hating the politics, not the person. Like, that takes a very disciplined measure to take, because, you know, a lot of people out there, like myself included, I absolutely despise these politicians about what they have done and all that, and their politics as well. But like, the disciplined nature of it as well too is very important, that like, when you do encounter them, like you're going to in the chambers and all that, being able to sort of dress them down with words is hugely important, because it is easy to look across at these people and be like, you know what, like, these deserve all of the badness in the world, you know.
Something did happen.
Keeping yourself together. Sure.
Something did happen, and I was required to keep myself together. Do you know what I mean? And that wasn't for the individual in question. That was for myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of me even getting like barky with you. Diffuse the situation. Done security for ages. Done a bit of door work as well. So trying to defuse situations is in me as well. But it's like, sit down. Let's have a conversation. Do you think this is any way for someone like you to act in your position? The confidence people have in you, and you're acting like a rabid dog. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, gaskets are blowing all over the place, and I'm just sitting there. You know what I mean? Leg on me knee, and I'm like, come on, foot on me knee, because I'm not one of them. Foot on me knee, and I'm like, come on, sit down, have a conversation. Is there any need to talk like that? There's no need to talk like that. And then it's like,
yeah, like, you're saying, killing them with the kindness, yeah.
But like, it's the rabidness, and then you're like, right, let's really take it apart. See the way your lips are cracking, your pupils are wide, they're dilating, you're foaming at the mouth. That's the adrenaline kicking in. I'm sitting here and my heart's racing. I'm not giving the specific event, but we can talk about little details. I'm sitting there and my heart's racing. I'm getting ready to get a dig, and see that adrenaline dump you're having. Yes, you can't control it. The difference between me and you is that you're a weak man, and weak men create hard times. But you see me, strong men create good times, and it's like, boom. Do you know what I mean? It's thermonuclear in the place, and they're gone, and they're slamming doors, and then people are like, Paddy, are you all right? I'm fresh. I'm fresh. Do you know what I mean? I'm grand. But it's stuff like that comes with forcing yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with. Do you know what it comes with? Forcing yourself to get out and leave, forcing yourself to go knock doors, forcing yourself to get up and walk the dog even though you don't feel like doing it, forcing yourself to go to the gym, forcing yourself to join a club even though you're not the most confident person. Like, you'd find, like, boxing clubs, I found that any boxing club I went to was made feel like home. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that you're not going to be shunned.
Definitely.
Do you know, you're not going to be shunned. Like, people love to see new faces coming in the door and help you. Do you know what I mean? And help you become a better person. Like, that's just innate in boxers, I think. And anyway, they want to help.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I mean, like, that's why I think even the MMA community now as well, like, as a whole, I mean, that's always going to be there. And a lot of people are really surprised recently as to how the MMA community and the boxing community at large as well have rode in behind nationalism. Well, that's because these guys understand what's going on and they know what's at stake. I mean, these guys are all very keenly aware that whilst, you know, it's great to go out and it's great to compete and you're using your hands and your feet, and it's something that always would have happened in this country. Now you're dealing with shams with blades and stuff like that now, and you're going, hang on here for a second. That's not something that... Now, look, I'm not saying it never occurred here in the country, but the fact that it's dramatically increasing, and knife crime, particularly in London, is rampant. And here in Ireland, it's
so bad. It's so
big.
Bad that the police. It's so bad that the police have a. Maybe it'll be like the post box. Maybe we'll get drop your machete off here, but instead of it being blue, they'll just paint it green. You know what I mean? It's probably like, oh, just drop your machete off here. No hassle, no worries. You know what I mean? Oh. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Like, people are going around with blades and stuff like that. Like, you need to be spatially aware. Like, I float around, I walk around, I be listening to tunes. You know what I mean? I'll be listening to my music. Then I turn a corner, and whatever. I'm looking at people, and my gut instinct is kicking in. The headphones come off the head because you want to be spatially aware. But like, that's... I shouldn't have, man, I'm 32, I'm fairly capable. I shouldn't have to be like, oh, something might happen because I'm walking past a load of dudes that look absolute scally. Do you know what I mean? Just standing on the end of Talbot Street, like, you know what I mean?
They have a lot of problems in those areas as well, and that's the funny thing. And that's what I'll say to you as well with the council meetings where they're recording. Like, I think it's wild to think, and it's funny to think as well, some of the politicians are now saying, oh, these areas, like, for example, you had the old bit of pageantry, as you were saying there earlier on, of Helen McEntee walking around Dublin City Centre with Drew Harris, and you're like, you're going around there with Armed Detectives,
ring a blue steel around here.
Crazy. It's crazy stuff. And then you're saying to people like, who are you kidding with this photo opportunity? And they're not, like, they're kidding some people, don't get me wrong, but the large majority of people are looking at that and they're going, hang on, I don't have an armed escort. There was a brilliant comment that was put on the channel there yesterday, the day before, and it said, well, if Micheál Martin thinks the place is so safe, how come he's not knocking around without those two armed detectives that are with him all the time? Brilliant comment, very true. You know, and just going back on physical fitness there, I don't know whether you've seen it, but did you see the video of Micheál Martin that he tried to run a 100-meter sprint and start pulling up? He had one of the most gay runs I've ever seen. And this is the thing with a guy like that. You're looking at him. One of them where the
hands are going left and right across his chest. There's one of them.
Yeah, like a power walk. Yeah. Very effeminate. But that's what we're talking about here, and I think that is a wider issue as well. That's what we're speaking about here as well. Like, you look in the chamber of the doll there and all these places, and particularly lefty guys.
If you want to take over the country, the quickest and easiest way to get it done without anyone having anything to say, or even let alone putting up the presence of some sort of resilience, is demasculate, demoralize, get the dudes into their own head to the point where they're like, oh, I can't even do anything about this. You can't. Collectively, we can. Like, we're powerful together. Like, the Irish people collectively are a very strong people, and we can make that presence known. Like, it wrecks my head. It does. Like, I don't watch sport ball. Like, I don't. Do you know what I mean? And I make no bounds about it. Like, people try and talk about sport ball, and they're like, oh, did you see the match? And I'm just like, nah, man, don't watch football. Oh, you're hurling. I used to love hurling. I used to love hurling, but then they have a lot of Arabs like training in Crow Park, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I lost faith in the GAA. Do you know what I mean? But,
for sure, as an organisation as well. That's what they're doing now. 100%.
That's a motion for a single county council. You know what I mean? That's a motion. That's going to get flawed. No, man. Do you know? No, absolutely. That motion's going to get brought up. Do you know what I mean? That we're not using it for religious purposes. Do you know what I mean? Like, that place was built to advance the Irish people. Like, that's what it was there. It was there it was there and it was built as a symbol of Irishness. Like whatever about Marty Morrissey, but the description he gives of that, like, All Ireland final day, the heartbeat of the nation. Like, that's what it is, man. I've been in Crow Park and I've been to matches and I've brought my kids with me, and it's like just it's lethal. Do you know what I mean? And then you see what they're doing, you're like, oh, you're ruining this as well, like, you know what I mean?
And the fact that they're going with this local champion stuff, like, and they've wrapped in now this Shilly McMahon character who's out writing articles for outlets, and you're looking at it and you're like, this is crazy. At the same time that you're using the sports to promote this left wing ideology that's harming the country.
That's what the Romans done to placate the masses. Demasculate, demoralize, and entertain. Make sure you give them bread and circus. You know what I mean? Like, if they have no bread, then just let them eat cake. You know what I mean? We all remember, I don't know if you remember, but I remember, cheese was a thing from the dolls. You know? Like, what is this? Absolute insanity. Bread, circus, or in our case, cheese and GAAs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, Anna. And this is the thing, like, the GAA was a stalwart organization for a lot of people, but I think now, like you said as well, it's another one that's been infiltrated, and it's another one that's promoting absolute lunacy. But like, the thing is, you know, there is a big way to turn it, and like you said as well, like, you've got the gyms, like the last bastion of masculinity at the moment seems to be in these martial arts clubs, which is a great thing to see, and boxing clubs as well. And it's a very positive thing, because they're all very self-aware and they understand the nationality situation. You understand what's happening to this country as a whole, and they're very clued in, because I mean, these are guys and girls that are getting kicked and punched in the face, and I mean, you're not going to, like, you're dealing with weak, soft individuals in an awful lot of facets of society now, and that's what you have. Like, you've got people that don't understand, and they're thinking to themselves, oh, this isn't a problem, we'll airdrop a load of Nigerians into an area, but have never heard of the Black Axe Gang. You know, they will airdrop a lot of people from Pakistan and Palestine and all that, and you're like, but hang on, do you understand what these people are all for? Like, at the same time, you're running around in gym with multicolored flags, and these guys then are going to be, you know, giving them a bit of a scenic view from the top of a building. Like, you know, you're just looking at it and you're like, the hypocritical nature of it is just, it's wild to think how these people think.
So it's just, you're saying that, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like, it is. It's absolute lunacy. Like, it really is. It's absolute lunacy. Like, that there in and of itself is a wolf in a sheep's clothing. Do you know what I mean? And it's the way it always starts. It's the way it always starts. So it is like, oh yeah, cool, boy, let's get on together. It's like, why do we have to change the way we are to appease everybody else? Like, this is why I don't try and defend myself anymore. Do you know what I mean? I try and put them on the defense straight away.
Absolutely.
Like, this fat Nazi, fascist, bigot, racist, homophobe, or whatever. And it's like, what's wrong with not wanting to become a minority in your own country? And then they're like, you, like, literally, do you enjoy life? Like, do you enjoy life? Do you enjoy the way the country is? They'll give out about a couple of things, as they will naturally do, because not anyone, I don't think, is actually really happy with the way things are. Like, even I've met people on the doors who are Fine Gael voters, Fianna Fáil voters, and you'd have the conversation with them, and they're not happy with particular things that the party's doing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're happy to for the most part, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, why do you enjoy that comfort? What do you think, like, that comfort actually comes from? Do you think it comes from government policy, or do you think it comes from the collective community? And they're like, it comes from everyone else signing the same social contract. And it's like, if you bring, it makes no difference. And this is where I try not get hung up on specific groups of people, because it doesn't make a difference. You bring in any group of people from anywhere in the world, you drop them into any part of Ireland, that place ceases to be Irish overnight. Yep. That's the way it is. And it's like, you put them on the defense, and then I find that's a good one. Do you know what I mean? The social contract. It's like the light flicks, and they're like, oh, hang on. Do you know what? Hang on, like, maybe you're onto something. There was a good time, and PBP, Palestinian flag on the door, and the lads would tell you, like, the lads of vouch for something, like, we ain't doing that door. I want to knock that one. There's a Ukrainian flag. I want to knock that one. I want to talk, because whatever about. And like, you don't see me, like, I don't really engage in the comments, like, with trolls and stuff like that, because, man, that's what trolls are. It's like, they're literal trolls that are there to sap your energy, sap your time, and take you away from what you ought to be doing or what you could be doing to better yourself and better in the movement. But when you knock the door and you're having a conversation with someone that's like, hi, how you getting on? My name's Patrick. I'm a representative for the National Party, and blah, 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 blah. They're doing this. We're collecting signatures, and it's like, National Party. Oh, yous are a racist. Do you know what I mean? It's like blah, 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 blah. And the head's getting ripped off me, like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and I'm just taking it. So I'm just taking it because they're not telling me to F off and get away from the door or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They're just venting. Do you know, like that's, to me, it's like that was a vent. And then I'm like, well, I mean, I'm trying to be a representative for the community. I get that you don't agree with me. So I'm not talking to the supreme commander of the Palestinians here. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just talking to an ordinary working class dub who's probably been led in the wrong direction. And I'm like, yeah, like I get you don't agree with me on a lot of things, and that's all right. Like, and I get that you don't agree with me on these things, but like genuinely, it's the art I can help you with. And it's like, I have an issue with this, and blah blah blah. And I was on to this person, I was on to that person. They're all giving me the runaround, and I'm like, here, look, no sun, moon, stars, no smoke up your hole. I can't make any promises. The only promises that I can make is that I'll help you as best as I possibly can. And the response, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just after ripping the head off you. And I'm like, yeah, because you're frustrated and you're being told I'm the enemy. And they're like, oh, worldview shattered in the space of 5 seconds because there's a smile and a friendly person. It's like we're being portrayed as this big evil blob. Do you know what I mean? Like this evil people, like we're stepping down the road. We're like, do you know, like this is what we're being portrayed as when we're just ordinary, decent people who want a better country. Not for ourselves, more importantly, for the generations to come after us and the generations to come after us. And that little interaction, instead of me just walking away when the person started giving me a bollocking, you know, I stood there and listened. I took it, and then I was like, right, yeah, look, bit of a conversation back and forward. But like, I'm genuine here. Look, I am trying to be good representative for the community. Like, something I can help you with, I'll absolutely help you with. That's a vote.
No, yeah, that's a
vote.
very important thing.
Voter. You know what I mean? That's a voter. Bang. They're voting for us. And they're not voting for politicians. They're voting for decent, ordinary, working class people. I hate this working class, upper class. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a division that's being sown by the left. Do you know what I mean? That's being sown by the regime, like, to keep the Irish people divided. You're always going to have, like, people who are better off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a fact of life. You're going to have someone who's going to be a millionaire. They're going to be onto some game. They're going to be clicked in. They're going to be dedicated. They're going to be doing 70-hour weeks. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is always going to happen. And what we're told, like what I was told coming from a very working class area was, they're the enemy. Do you know, take their shit and redistribute. And I'm like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Well, I wasn't. But like, back in the day, you'd be listening to it and you'd be like, oh, you'd be getting jealous of the person who's doing better than you, instead of being told, here's the game, here's how it works, this is what you do, and you build yourself up and you get better. Does that mean financial gain? Sometimes for some individuals, that's what will motivate them. You know, financial gain will motivate people. They'll want a mansion, they'll want a yacht, they'll want a year. Do you know what I mean? For some people, like myself, and like literally everybody in the movement, it's about just doing something that is right by the Irish people. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. Like, people that have things that motivate them, but just because they're at the top, like, I hate this, just because they're at the top, because they're at the top of the socio-economic ladder, it's like they're the enemy. There is people up there that have weight and they're using it to push anti-Irish narratives, and yeah, they are the enemy. Do you know what I mean? And there needs to be policies brought in that disenfranchise that wealth trickling down into NGOs to push these anti-Irish policies upon the Irish people. But just because someone is after, like, dedicating their life to their craft and they have now bear the fruit of that hard labour, do you know what I mean? It's like they're not necessarily the enemy. So I don't think that working class, whatever, upper class, like we're the people, and we need to work together. Do you know what I mean? We need to work together for the betterment of ourselves and the collective goals of the race. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. No, I fully agree with you on that one. And the thing is, as well, I think what you're talking about as well, the upper echelons and the drip down and stuff like that, I think a lot of people, and myself included, want to see the likes of NGOs investigated. They want to see who's funding them and where the funding's coming from. We've seen there recently the the Doge or DOGE, whatever you want to call it, the Department of Government Efficiency here in America, have found that thousands were being spent on some DEI dance that occurred here in this country. Now, that's just one instance of that occurring. I would love to see where else it's coming from and how to stymie all of that sort of stuff, because like you know yourself as well, the panic is amongst these people now because the wheel is turning, and like there's a couple of very important elections coming up in Europe, and what you have happening in America is important because, like, I mean, whatever side you're sort of on, when you're looking at what's being done and at the speed it's been done at in America, it's pretty interesting to see how many.
It's always democracy unless their people. It's always democracy.
For sure.
Unless their people don't get elected, then it's not a democracy. Then it's a coup or a takeover. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You were like, apparently I'm a conspiracy theorist for, and I mean, I'll hold the sign proud and say, yeah, no problem at all, because that was just a term that was coined by the CIA to try and discredit people. That is a fact.
They will call you whatever name under the sun to discredit you. That is a fact. They will call you whatever. Or your conspiracy theorist. It's like, yeah, man, I'm a critical thinker. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I would like to think I have my own way of looking at things and have my own viewpoint and coming to my own conclusions, because I'm not a sheep. You know, I wasn't. You know what I mean? Last I checked, I have 2 legs, 2 arms, a brain, 2 eyes, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Like, I'm a human being. I'm able to think by myself. Oh well, you're being accused of wrong thinking now. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I think when people lean into it, and that's what I like to do. I like to lean into it and have a laugh about it, because there's nothing you can do. And like you're saying earlier on there, like, you're impervious then to any of these mouths that are online saying things. And like, it doesn't bother me, because like that, I have plenty of training behind me as well too, to understand what to be done, what is to be done, and what can be done. But you know, the ultimate thing, and that what we're looking at as well in particular is, and I think what's been very helpful from this stream as well for people to understand, is that there is a lot of people out there, like there's people that are fighting, and it is going to continue, and it's going to continue for our future generations. Like you're saying as well too, this generation right now, and I always say it, the kind of 40s and under, right, are going to be a very pivotal generation and generations going forward. The younger generation, like, that's just something I just want to touch on for a second as well too, which Patrick, when you're talking about the social media aspect. Do you, and like, you see a guy like Jan, for example, and yourself, like, you're both young guys. Are you seeing like a big increase in young people, particularly young Irish lads, that are deciding to join in the nationalist movement, and would have been like yourself, as you were saying earlier on, where you're kind of looking at what's going on, going, what's happening, and then saying, oh, I need to really get involved. You see the patrol that's happening in and around the quays in town there over the last couple of days, where guys are going along. Like, are you guys seeing that now as well, where there's people moving towards it, and the demographic of people is starting to get younger that's joining in?
We're the only party with a youth wing on the nationalist side of things, and you know, like, that speaks for itself. In my opinion, we are the only ones with a de facto youth wing on the right. And see, right, left, false dichotomy doesn't exist. You're either for your people or you're against your people, or you're against them. And I'm for me people, so I get labelled all over the shop. Like, you know what I mean? That's another important terminology that just gets thrown all over the place, left wing, right wing. And yeah, but like, when I do say it, I do correct myself, because I'm like, I have to force that left wing, right wing division mentality out of my mind, because that's dividing the people. I don't want to divide the people. I want to bring us together. I want the Irish people to be a collective people working towards our collective goals. But like, back to it. It's like, we're the only party with a de facto youth wing that operates. So that, like, operates. Lads meet up regularly. Like, what's put out online, and I am guilty of this myself. Like, I done canvassing yesterday for about 5 hours, and then the only thing that went online was when we went over to the Austrian embassy, and we done a little video outside the Austrian embassy, but I didn't put a video up that I was out canvassing and I'm walking around the area and blah blah blah. And then the same again then the day before, I was out canvassing and I didn't post it. It's like, lads meet up regularly, are out active regularly. Are they leafleting and knocking doors? No. What are they doing? Going for hikes, going for jogs, lifting weights, doing the push-ups, punching the head off each other. Just like, that happens, like, going for swims in lakes and stuff like that. And they'd be like, oh, you're a militant organisation. It's like, literally, if we had like Pádraig Pearse Boxing Association, you know, and a room and space, it'd be like, it'd be okay. We're just a club. Do you know what I mean? We're just a group of dudes that have a particular way of thinking, and we meet up and we train, and we're physically active, and we're building that brotherhood. And then again, to be like, is more people coming into the party, are they more youthful? Vast majority of people I interact with, man, are youthful. Do we have the old guard? Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Are they there? Absolutely. Do they not want to be necessarily forward facing, but do they give us ideas and stuff like this? Like, here, look, here's an idea. Maybe if you try this, like, it'd probably work. I'm not saying take it, do it. I'm saying take it and have a look at it. And if you think it's a good idea, like, change it a little bit to suit yourself and then run with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, vast majority of the people I interact with are young, like, do you know what I mean? Like 30 and below. So yeah,
it's very reassuring, that is, like, and that's the thing, like, you're seeing people
fills
now
me with hope. Really does, like, genuinely fills me with hope, and it's gorgeous to watch them see it on the internet. Like, the only trolls I enjoy are the ones when the lads put up a post about being active. They're like, "Oh, Brokeback Mountain," you know what I mean? It's like, you're snapping you there. You want, like, because they want you being, you know what I mean, demasculated, locked into your room, staring at the ceiling, going, "Oh, I can't change that." Barely motivated to get out of bed. Like, they want you like that. And when you decide, no, today is the day, I'm going to do this 75-day hard challenge. I'm gonna change myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. Sorry, let me correct myself. I'm not gonna not change myself. I'm gonna get back to who I know I can be. I'm gonna be the strongest person that my bloodline has ever produced, and I'm not stopping for anyone. That's the way I think. Like, I'm not carrying on my shoulders. You know, I'm not carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like, am I looking at the task we had ahead of us? Yes. Is it difficult? Yes. Am I carrying weight on my shoulders? Like, no, because it's not only me. And like, inside the chamber as well, like, this is where the mindset helps. It's not only me. It's everyone that helped me get into that seat. It's every single family member that's buried in the soil beneath my feet saying, "You fucking go, Quinlan." Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not on my own. We're not on our own. We're together, not only physically but metaphysically. Not only a physical war, but a spiritual war. And yeah, like, I don't know. I just get so positive when I think like that, and I don't know. I don't know.
No, I would say you do, and you have to be, because like, I see a lot of feedback from people, and there's a lot of people that message me as well and like comment under the videos and that, and they say, you know, I'm this age or that age, and like the ages are starting to creep down in terms of like, you're getting guys that are 18 and 19 that are like, I can't ever buy a house, you know. And just as a sort of
I'm being faced with like applications for people who are like 15, and like, they cannot. Like, they can be a paper member and get the emails, but like, they cannot get active. Like, I'm sorry, like they cannot get active. Like, it's like, we had a dude that was in the party, and it was like, he joined when he was 14. Do you know what I mean? Then it was like his 18th birthday. Sends an email to the party. He's like, "I want to get active. I'm 18. You're like, "All right." Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll meet you. We'll have a conversation. What's up? What's going on? But following the party, well, I went to school, and this is what my school was like. And it's like, what you're talking about, it's like, you didn't radicalise me or anything. Like, there's loads of people saying similar things like you. I just think you are the organisation that's going to do it. But it was like the school system radicalised me. You know, it's like, the more the machine will do that to your kids, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever, you know, like, you want to get active, we're not putting you on doors. We have a youth wing. We can stick you into the youth wing. It's not necessarily about like pushing the cause. Do you know what I mean? It's about bettering yourself. It's about reading books. It's about lifting weights. It's about getting that discipline in you, because you don't want a situation where you just have a load of people that come in and then they're just all out there. And then it's like, there's no structure to things. There's no cohesiveness then to the movement. And I suppose that's probably what we get critiqued for, is that like, is that slow to react? Is that slow to respond? And things are happening. And I'm like, man, you just do whatever you want. I'm like, very much every single time we take a step forward, we're not moving from that position. Slow, heavy, steady movements, and that's how we're going to build. And I get it. I've said this a few times in a couple of videos, because I don't do a lot of videos, and it's just the person I am. Like, I just don't like being the front and center of everything. But it's like I get the frustration. I can understand people reacting the way they're reacting. Do I think it's the best way to react? No, but like, people feel like they don't have a they don't have a choice. They don't have an option. It's like they're looking at what the government is doing, and they're like the department that's pushing this on people. Like the councillors had a meeting with this with deputy, with representatives of deputy, the bureaucrats, and it's like, yeah, no, communities aren't consulted, and you're like, what do you mean communities aren't consulted? Well, we consult you know, people in the community, you know, like, yeah, you consult the tidy towns. Just, do you know what I mean? Like, you consult the tidy towns that's packed out with liberals. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, my lord. Let's have new people in the area, and let's bring them out and have them do litter picking, and look at these people, they're so great, they're so deadly. And then, like, you can understand why people react the way they react, because they feel like they don't have a choice. They feel like they have no other way. And what I'm trying to do, and what the party's trying to do, is we're trying to give people a proper, solid, long-term alternative. Because the last thing I want is a situation where not necessarily the party is in jeopardy, but that the people within the party are in jeopardy. Like parties are just brands. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like thinking too much in a political sense of things when it comes to this. I like thinking, like, for a family, we stick together, tough and thin. We have shared, like, the party as well, man. We're the only ones that, like, physically had our Ardèche attacked. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were the only ones that were physically attacked. Like, people came to our Ardèche, a private meeting, gathered intelligence, organised buses, and attacked our people. They absolutely hate us. And I think it's because we're not reactionary, because we're slow, steady, heavy steps. You want to get active? No problem. You're not going on doors. You can't go to every single protest. I'm sorry, you can't go to every single protest, because guess what we're doing that day? We're going up the mountain and we're doing a 15k hike, and then we're going to do 100 push-ups. And and it's like, yeah, because the main priority to me is to make sure you're sound as an individual. You're mentally solid as an individual, that when you went up at a protest staring down a line of riot cops, that you don't send the right hand and you don't go to prison. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's very sage. It's very sage advice, because, like, I hear what you're saying and get what you're saying there. It's very sage advice, because you do need to be, and like we spoke about earlier on, you do need to be in tune with the body and the mind. And like you were saying there are a lot of people that are getting red pilled, and particularly younger people getting red pilled through the school system and all the stuff that's been pushed on them. And you've got an awful lot of the global goals was one. Someone reached out to me recently and said that their child was attending a school where they had the global goals painted on one of the walls and big sort of plaques and that. And I was just like, okay. And they were like, we all know that this is coming from Davos, and like this person was well tuned into what was going on. And I says, all right. And
same with the do the sex education curriculum and stuff like that. Like, that's coming from somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's coming from somewhere else. And it's all this. Go on, I'm sorry, man. I keep cutting across.
Sorry, no, you're all right. You're all good. No. The thing is that, yeah, it's cutting into people's brains now at this stage that this stuff is all around them. And once I think one thing was exposed, I think now everything else is at the falling around like dominoes, because I do find that these players in this system are very sloppy with what they do. And I do think that, like you're saying there, and to harken back to your point, the fact that the National Party is growing and it is moving the way it is slow and steady and calculated steps. And like you said there, like, this is just a point I wanted to bring back to you as well. Like your Ardèche was attacked. You guys were attacked with claw hammers. That didn't get any sort of public outcry. It didn't get much media coverage, but yet you hear people like, for example, Roderick O'Gorman getting a clipboard slapped out of his hand.
They didn't panic. It's because they didn't kill anyone. No, it's because they didn't kill anyone. It's because they didn't take a scalp, that the regime could be like, look, this person was killed because they're part of this party. You don't want to join that. Like, that's why it didn't get the coverage. I'm sorry. That's my belief. That's why it didn't get the coverage. Do you know what I mean? That's why it was just brushed under the carpet. Like, you know, that's why that was just brushed under the carpet. Like, you know what I mean? Make no mistake about it. Something like that will never happen again. Never. You know what I mean? Like, it's like catches whatever once, but like, it was even the reaction of the lads. Like, you could, like, this is the thing I'm talking about. It's like don't go looking for it, but when it comes, be prepared to defend yourself. And the way the lads like protected themselves and the party, heroic. Just the only way I can describe it. heroic.
Heroic,
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely would be a word, because there were families in attendance there as well, and a lot of people forget that, and that's what I want to just point back towards. Like, you hear all of these people, these lefty lunatics that are online and in the media, and they're flagrantly talking about attacks on democracy, and you're like, well, there's a literal attack on democracy that occurred up there, and there was no coverage about it whatsoever. And like you said, the sinister part of you and the more cynical side of things, you can look at it and say, well, what they were looking for, and what they're constantly looking for, is to tar people with the brush of, hey, you don't want to be over here on that side, because this is what is all attributed to it. And that's why the name calling happens. That's why the attacks happen. But before we're going to jump into a couple of questions that are at being sent in there, Patrick, if you don't mind. So we got a couple of people in here that I just want to just highlight. So Jerome Reedy's in here, sends a super sticker. Thanks, man. Kiki and Jasmine says cheers. We've got Sovereign Air that says join the National Party. Niall McConnell's in here tonight. I had Niall on the show before, and Niall runs his own channel as well. Does a great job at doing that and showing what's going on in Donegal. He says, has Patrick been able to help our people as a councillor, or is his hands tied behind his back? Like when he tried to find out how many foreign nationals were on the housing list, Gorev Mila might give. Now, I would say that we kind of covered that earlier on there, Niall, insofar as Patrick is basically a lone gunslinger. The Obi-Wan Kenobi of your prospective Tatooine, I would say.
Without, I'm sorry, but like without the euphemism stuff like that, all, like, I want to address that question directly, because Niall is a key player. Do you know what I mean? Niall's a key player in the nationalist movement. Like, he does things on his end, and like he does good things on his end. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's things like I don't necessarily agree. This is the thing I'm talking about. Like, everyone on our side is like, oh, you don't agree with this person, blah blah. Like, yeah, I don't agree. Do you know what I mean? But like, you can look at it, like, you see videos, people highlighting what's going on in their area. Like, what are you going to be like, no? You know what I mean? It's like, no. Ask the question, answer the question. Never dodge a question. Answer the question. Do you know what I mean? Politicians dodge questions. I'm not a politician. And do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, so it's like, I've already, without being a councillor, helped people get housed, been successful getting people get housed, and not only been in photos with them holding keys, but sitting in the room when they're being given the tenancy agreement and being given the keys. Do you know what I mean? Then being like, oh no, you wait here. Do you know what I mean? You go get the kids, collect them after school, and then it's like into the motor, over to Mr. Price, get balloons, get whatever, get the house key, up to the house, you set a little stage for them, and it's like, bang. Do you know what I mean? And the kids are like, what? And it's like, yeah, this is your house now. And they're like, what? It's like, even if only that ever happened once in my entire life, I could die happy. Like, I could genuinely die happy tomorrow and be like, I've done something that, like, no one else has done in this movement. And that has to be said. I will always be fair. But I was nearly speaking. I will always be fair, but firm. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I am the only person. Myself and Stephen Redmond are the only two people in the entire country that have followed that through from start to finish. 18, 24 months with an individual, building a case for them, constantly hounding the council, get this person housed. And being an elected councillor doesn't change that. I'm still dealing with the same level of bureaucracy, but there's acts and there's provisions and there's stuff like that, and you're trying to build a case for these people to get them housed. Do I have a magical wand? Can I house absolutely everybody? Absolutely not. I'm realistic. Every time I meet someone, I'm like, I need to build a case and figure out how we're going to get you housed. And it's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. It's probably going to be 18 months to 24 months. And I always say it, the first person I ever helped get a house was an older gentleman. He was sleeping in a car park for 3 years when he got on to me. He was still in that car for another 18 months. Do you know what I mean? But he got housed in the end and was extremely grateful, because you're going down, you're checking on them, you're touching base with them, and you're all right. Do you know what I mean? It's Christmas week. Do you need anything? Let me know. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm grand of a bit of somewhere to go to get a bit to eat or whatever. I'm grand, I assure, absolutely. And that's, have you got any power as a councillor? The question you should be asking yourself, and the question everyone in the chat listening to this now and after, and the question you need to ask everyone else.
Absolutely.
What can you do in your capacity? The question, what can you do in your capacity as an Irish person to help your fellow Irish person? And I see a lot of people doing things like that, like the lads, for instance, going around to the older folk on the West Coast and helping them out. Do you know what I mean? With gas cylinders and coal and logs and stuff like that. There's different ways you can help. Like, in terms of council, can sit there, be a nuisance for them insofar as highlight the ridiculous level of bureaucracy that happens in the place. So I'd like to think that I do pick the things to highlight in the council and to bring to people's attention. At the same time, being wholly transparent with what I'm doing inside that place, when I am there, and the conversations that I have and stuff like that. Like, for instance, I'm not going to drop names because I don't want to potentially end up in a litigation case, because what does that, a defamation case, because what does that do for me? What does that do for the movement? Nothing. Did it happen? Did I have that conversation? Was I being called every name under the sun? Did I feel like I was going to get a dig? Was my heart racing? Was this individual acting like the way they were? Absolutely. Do you know, it's like, absolutely. Like, I like to think of myself as I'm clever enough, do you know what I mean, to know what to say, what not to say, how to say it, and how to deliver it. And then as well, being transparent with people to the point where I can protect myself insofar as I'm still here tomorrow. I'm no use to anyone in a cell. Fair play to Enoch Buck. He went to prison for what he believed in, and I commend him for that. Absolutely. Everyone should commend him for that. But in my perspective, I'm not going to sit there and call someone, if I'm in his position, I'm not going to be like, you're a woman because you feel like a woman. I'm a councillor. I'm not going to turn around and say you're a woman, you feel like a woman. But I'm not going to wind myself up into something silly like a defamation case, for instance, to wrap me up in a ball of legalese, to not shut me up, but make me life difficult. My life's already difficult. Like, you know, like, my life's already difficult enough in terms of like not necessarily my personal life, but my work life and stuff like that. Like, things are difficult, like, you know what I mean? Like, they are. And I don't want to make things any more difficult for me than they already are, because, to be honest, I don't end up being of any help to anybody. But I'll always be transparent. Not in the sense as like, oh, I'll always be transparent and tell you what I want you to know. I'll always tell you what happens and the conversations that happen. And when appropriate, absolutely be like, these are the people, these are the conversations that they have. Like, the offside conversation that Aintu had with me, like when the senator came in and asked us to vote for them, and I turned around to that senator and was, why would I vote for you when the councillors who got elected to represent the people won't even represent the people? And then I'm getting told, oh, well, if you give them the motions, you know, they'd be able to get them to the floor. And I'm like, think I'm stupid. Like, I'm not here to appease you. In reality, I'm in there on my own. You have councillors sitting over my shoulder that at the start of meetings, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, I'm seeing motions here that I don't agree with. Can we even have these motions on the agenda? And I'm sitting there being like, yous are all absolute cowards. Yous are afraid of a debate. Do you know what I mean? Yous are afraid of a debate. So even getting things to the floor and getting motions down is going to be a very difficult thing. It is. We got it there once. We got it up there once. Questions and stuff like that. We can ask questions. We can dig for information. We can press. Like, if you think I've given up on getting the statistics for the amount of foreign nationals on the housing list, like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't given up. I suppose I'm not keeping. I'm not posting something every single day. But for instance, I'd be in the Blanchetown shopping centre after getting a coffee. You know what I mean? Walking over to the council. And then I'd see the housing manager. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? All right, Paul, how are you? Do you know what I mean? No, and in my head, I'm like, you're a bureaucrat. Do you know what I mean? You're the reason I don't have the figures that I'm looking for. Do you know what I mean? Oh, what's happening? How's your day? How are you getting on? Yeah. It's amazing that you're finding time to do this, and you can't get a couple of people together just to find me the information on the amount of foreign nationals on the list. Like, council powers, yeah, we have got some. Have we got abilities to do things? Yeah. But the more of us there are, the better. That's what I'd say to that. And like, am I going to give up and just sit there and like, oh, I can't do that. No, I'm powerless. Absolutely not. Like, I am there to represent my people that I was elected to represent for the constituency of Blanchardstown, Mulhullard, and I intend to do that. Have the other constituencies returned councillors who are working against us? Yes, absolutely. I can't do so much. Like, I can't work miracles. You know what I mean? Inside council, I can't work miracles, and will always advocate to help my people get housed in their own area, and not ahead for the Nationals. Why? Because I don't even think for the Nationals should be on the housing list. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think for the Nationals should be able to get onto the housing list. You know what I mean? Irish houses for Irish people. I hope that answers this question some way. And anyway.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier on, like it's a long thread of like people that have been in the system. Like a lot of people forget as well, and this is the thing. And just one thing I just wanted to say as well. You know, the nationalist movement and patriotic movement sometimes can be very impatient, and you have to understand that, you know, this is the first crack at the whip that some of these guys have gotten, guys. You know, but I get the impatience too as well, and it's like, and don't forget, guys, there's glowies that are going to be showing up in this chat. There's going to be glowies that are going to show up in the comments that are telling you to do silly things, like telling you that talk is enough and all that. But what you've just seen in the last year is you've had 3 councillors elected that are speaking for people and are at the very least exposing what's going on inside these council chambers. You know what I mean? Those videos are going viral for a very specific reason, because people have been unsure as to what's happening in these meetings for a very long time. You get one dude and Patrick there asking a very simple question with emotion, and it's caused the cat to be amongst the pigeons, because now loads of them have exposed themselves.
Absolute havoc. Do you know what I mean? And then to me, then the best part is, like, you know, it's like lads, like literally, it's like lads are texting me, get up, do a video straight away, and I'm like, no, I'm like physically and mentally unaffected by this. Do you know what I mean? But what has happened, the effect that has happened, is now every single person knows they all want to bury information, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting there, I'm calm, I'm like, oh, like lovely. You know what I mean? 1-0. Do you know, like 1-0, lovely, perfect. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I'm thinking.
No, you're 100%.
Look, they're exposing themselves.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the thing that we need to just keep doing, and that's all I do with the likes of my YouTube channel, and then what you were doing as well too, and the National Party are doing on the YouTube channel is very important. The uploads and the fact that they're coming out are very important, because it keeps people in the know as to what's happening. You guys there posted a video yesterday of you outside the Austrian embassy as well, and that's the thing, like, you know, you hear all about the vigils and stuff like that are done there for people that have left our countries, have absconded from their countries, are running around our city centre with foreign flags. You hear all about people wanting to go to those things, but yet when people are attacked, and young kids in particular are attacked in our country and other countries as well, it's all, I don't pretend like this is a problem. Like, you know,
4-year-old girl and a mother, do you know, like 4 years old. I've girls that are 3, do you know, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what? How does a person do this? And then another kid, 14, and like, I get as well, like, I am sick of doing the vigils. I am, because I am sick of seeing the vulnerable in society being targeted, and that's what it is. They're being targeted, do you know what I mean, by specific people who have a tendency to commit these types of crimes. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's call a spade a spade. But it's like the Parnell attack didn't disappear. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like the Parnell attack. Attempted murder. Let me correct myself. Attack employers that they had some sign of defence. It was an attempted murder, is what happened there. That's school children and the teacher. They're like all crash workers. It's that teacher. Do you know what I mean? And she's putting her life on the line then as well, like, to try and protect the kids, because that's her instinct. Protect the kids, protect the youth, protect the vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? And it makes me sick. It genuinely does. Like, that makes me sick. Like, every single time I walk past Parnell, man, do you know what I mean? I do feel it. Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot to get the heartstrings going, like, but I do feel it, because I'm like, I can walk here, I can think about what this would feel like, but I don't know what it feels like. Like, I don't know what it feels like to be that child that's like recovering from this. Like, recovering is the term that they're using, but like, I'd say, like, learning to deal with a new way of life. It's like child's on life support, child's getting out, child's like, and they're getting the updates on the GoFundMe page, and it's like, and then they're plastering all over the oak, and they're like, oh, this is fantastic, this is great, the child's making progress, and walked with assistance, and I'm like, that's good, you know, that's great. Child should be running there on the playground, and your man shouldn't even be in the country. Do you know what I mean? Like, child should run around the playground, your man shouldn't even be in the country. and it's
Quite
happening
strange how
all
the
over.
whole case has gone very quiet as well with regards to the suspect, but you'll hear all about.
Diaz is back in court on the 26th or something like that. I think. No, actually, no. I'm thinking about Bill. No, I'm thinking about Bill. I think Bill, your man, the Fianna Fáil councillor. I'm mixing the courts up. It's your man, the Fianna Fáil councillor, or the Fine Gael councillor who's accused of having indecent images of kids and smuggling illegal into the country. He's up in court on the 26th, I think.
Any word on who the judge is? If it's a specific judge, it could be.
No idea. Like, I find that interesting as well. Like, when you go onto the court.ie website and you go searching for things, it's like you can't search for them. Do you know what I mean? It's like a paid service. What's like public court? Like, what do you mean it's just a paid service? Like, I have an interest in this as a citizen of the country. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me have a look at it. It's like, oh no, you need to pay for it. All right, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're not getting enough of the money. Like, you're not getting enough of the taxpayers' money already. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
Money's what it's all about for these people, and that's the thing. Like,
it is. That's their God, man. That's who they worship. Do you know what I mean?
Before we wrap up, Patrick, because I'm well aware that we've stretched into the 2-hour mark as well, and I know that you're a busy man and you're up to things as well. Is there anything that you wanted to finish off or bring a point before we bring it to a close?
Get active, in the sense of be the strongest person that your bloodline has ever produced, physically and mentally, and discipline yourself for the struggle ahead, because it is not going to be kind to us. We're already seeing the apparatus of the state trying to get access to people's private messages on social media and stuff like that, and not just like civilians, ordinary individuals and stuff like that, but like people that are locked into the movement, critiquing the state, journalists. You know what I mean? Like, we're already seeing all these type of things happening, and people who attend protests and do things or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Don't kill anybody. Don't have thousands of images of child pornography on their laptop, getting longer sentences than people who have thousands of images of child pornography on the laptop. Like, the state is not going to be kind to us. It's up to us to build strength and build a community that when one of us needs a shoulder to lean on, we have someone there that we can lean on to. And don't do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'll finish off on before we jump out as well. There was a 19-year-old convicted as well of what happened as a result of the children being, as Patrick was saying there earlier on, of being not just only attacked but attempted murder. And there was a 19-year-old convicted of I think it was born in a Garda car, allegedly, spectrally, we would say on that one. But he said the final thing he said before he was taken away was, at least by the time I get out, I'll have a few more hairs in my chest. Incredibly based, you know what I mean? Like, what a way to look at that situation. Now, not that I'm endorsing, and I'm not saying that people should be doing what people were doing that evening, but you know what ended up happening was, as people have seen the videos now, a culmination of things, which was there were agitators there again.
I will confirm this. Yeah, I was in that crowd at the start when the gathering initially happened, because like kids got stabbed. John, are we going to have a little bit of a vigil? Absolutely, go have a vigil and be like, what happened? What went on? Very quickly, I identified people that were on the footpath walking around up to the crowd and stuff. They're like, go mad. Do this, and I'm looking. I'm like, what? And then it's like when stuff started kicking off, it's like I'm seeing these individuals standing on the footpath, and I'm standing right beside them, and they're saying, "Go mad, go mental," and it's like they're ushering young fellas up the road, and then they're walking back themselves, and I'm like, that's very interesting. You think I forgot about Stephen's Green when the Garda were happened upon up in the top of the shopping centre wearing plain clothes with binoculars? Nah, I didn't forget about that at all. So I didn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, be aware. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is a path to victory. There really is. And like, just as it seems like we're losing hope, do you know what I mean? We do rash things and we act on impulse. The way we win is we take slow, soft, slow, steady, heavy steps on the path to victory. That's how we do it. Do you know what I mean? And we build a movement that will rival Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael's clutch on the GAA. Do you know? Do you know what I mean? That's how we do it.
Absolutely. It's inevitable. Like, nationalism is inevitable, and that's the thing. People have to move towards it.
Inevitable. We literally are. Do you know what I mean? Pure Thanos. So I am inevitable. Do you know?
Yeah, and I'd be the Iron Man side of things there, suiting up in the armor of tinfoil. But all joking aside, we have a very strong movement.
I am a bit like Thanos. You know what I mean? I would love to click my fingers and make all this shit go away. Do you know, like, I really would. Like, and I think there's a lot of people that are like that. Like, they want a magical formula to solve the problems that the country is in. The fact of the matter is, there is no magical formula. The solution is you getting physically, mentally strong and getting politically active and reading books and doing your research and being skeptical of things. Do you know what I mean? And getting information and being like, let me check this. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to take everything that gets told to me at face value. Do you know what I mean? I can look at it and go, right, that looks interesting. Now, let me do my own little bit of research. It takes 5 minutes. You have a supercomputer in your hand, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're told the level of technology you have in your phone was stronger than what they had when they sent people to the moon. If they sent people to the moon. Do you know what I mean?
That's
people to the moon.
Before the sniffles, I definitely would have believed in the whole moon thing. Now, like, I think it's a Joe Rogan joke, and he's like, "No, I don't know if they did it at all." And you're like, "Okay, well then, the more you look into like the likes of the Stanley Kubrick movies, and all that, and in particular, what was the one with Jack Nicholson? Now, people will be like lashing me out in the chat now. I can't think the name of the bloody movie now; it's escaped me. But like, one of the kids in it has an Apollo 13 jumper on, and he stands up and all that, and people are like, Kubrick is like directly messaging you. Anyway, that's just my and then you look at NASA and you look at Operation Paperclip. Like, these are the levels that you go down, and this is the thing. When I'm looking at these things, I'm going, this is very weird, and how things have shook out is very strange. Someone will probably write into the comments now. They'll be like, what movie was that?
I don't know. I'm gonna get slack over this, and I know I am. But there's levels to the game. Do you know what I mean? And it's understanding the levels to the game. And then the level you understand and how far you know things go. And then having that conversation with that individual. What level are they on? Do you know, like, what level are they on? Like, what do they understand? Like, what do they understand? What way the world works? Do you know what I mean? And not because what we're in danger of doing, and what we are in danger of doing, is just dumping tier 10 everything on people, and then they just go, ugh, and it's like, I'm not familiar with this, I don't understand, and then they're gone. Do you know? And then they're gone, then you've lost them. But like, you meet people at the level they're at, and then you help build them up. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you do. You help build them up. And like, I'd be a very strong advocate that you don't even have to have like particular level 10 conversations with people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, people come around to their own way of thinking. People understand things after a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, the elites and stuff like this, you know what I mean? I called them the Illuminati when I was 14, like, you know what I mean? And now I understand that's a globalist cabal that's absolutely hell-bent on just taking over the world. It's like Pinky in the Brain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Pinky in the Brain, they don't care who gets in their way or what nation gets in their way. Do you know what I mean? Like, they'll take everything and anything apart to get what they want.
Yeah, and we've been seeing it through the ages as well. And I think, you know, what you're looking at now as well is and like you're saying there about levels as well. You probably grew up the same year that I did, insofar as Pokemon was probably a big thing. You know, levels was always a thing with Pokemon.
Beyblade on the playground, man. They were the days. You know what I mean? You could sit there and you could play Beyblades. You didn't have to. Your parents didn't have a conversation and be like, if you see a stranger outside, don't come out. Do you know what I mean? You were able to walk home from school. You were able to go off with your mate. You weren't being like, the conversations I'm having with my kids, man, I feel like I'm restricting what they're doing. But it's like, to try and keep them safe. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you're the Irish kid. You should be out gallivanting through the farmer's field. Do you know what I mean? Like, get out there and explore. And you're like, it's almost like you have to keep an eye on them all the time. It's like, shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be like that. I remember being
that last generation.
I remember
last generation, Patrick,
kids, man, and we're crawling through gas lines when they were building new estates and stuff like that, and we're having the fun and stuff. I'm just being kids, but like, yeah, man, I wouldn't say that kids are starting to resent it though. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was a peak, you know, like there was a peak where kids were like pure drafted into this like being inside, plugged onto the internet 24/7, 365 is the way forward. It's like, there is kids that are starting to resent the world that they're grown up in, and it's like, they're the kids that like really need the help. Do Do you know what I mean? They're the kids that really need the help. It's like we have this explosion. Like I had ADHD when I was a kid. Now everyone has ADHD. Everyone has autism. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's actually causing all this? Like, what's actually causing all this? What kind of society are kids growing up into? What are we pumping into their bodies? Do you know what I mean? What kind of diet are people on when they're having kids and stuff like this? Like, do you know what I mean?
It's like even Patrick as well, like and I caught a couple of people, and I give people a little bit of taste of the likes of the RFK and stuff like that, and the geoengineering and that. And like I found it very amusing today that there was an
they're
article.
not cloud seeding. They're not cloud seeding. It's like you literally Google cloud seeding, the buy. There's like, oh yeah, here's a $1 trillion cloud seeding machine, but for years we were told that's not happening. Do you know what I mean?
But here's the thing, Patrick, as well. You've got there in the last day or so, and I have to say, it's always very funny how it works out. A couple of months ago, I put out a video that said that the government said that cloud seeding and geoengineering wasn't happening, right? And now today or yesterday, it was like, the sun hasn't been seen in 9 days. What is going on? I'm like, they're finally coming around. Well, not that they're finally coming around. These are now they do, but I'm like, it only takes a video like mine to come out there, or other people that are sharing things, or RFK saying things, more importantly on a global scale, I would say, that's honing in on the problem. And like, there you have it today. Today was a belter of a day. Sunny, it was lovely, and I looked up into the sky and there was planes, and there they were spraying stuff into the sky. And now I know people jump into the streams and they're like, what's going on here? What are you talking about? But have a look up in the sky on a clear day. You know what I'm talking about.
After having a pure, like, proper little, I'd say, look, a proper little heart-to-heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, just be normal, a little bit of a cup of tea at a chin wag type situation. And then they jump in, and then the snip that'd be taken. They're like, no, the chemtrail conspiracy theorists. They wouldn't put it out. That's like, yeah, no, be this thing, go to the gym, get physically, mentally strong. Do you know what I mean? Be the best that your bloodline has ever produced, and you know, slow, heavy, steady steps on the path to victory. You know, don't do that. Just don't be reactionary. Don't do that just because passion compels you to do it. You know what I mean? Be a little bit distant. They never put something out like that. They do not want that type of message getting out there. They really don't.
Absolutely not. But like you're saying earlier on about the critical thinking, it's very important to be able to do that. It is. Look, Patrick, have you got anything to say before the end? Because I'm, as I said earlier on, I'm keenly aware that we're 2 hours. I talk all night to you now, not a bother I would, but I'm wary of the time as well too. But is there anything that you want to finish up on? I know you're saying about getting active to people as well, which is hugely important. That's obviously a big thing. But is there anything else there?
Nah, I haven't got anything sharp, edgy, or catchy that I can say at the end. Do you know what I mean? Just thanks for having me. Thanks everyone Thanks everyone for coming in. And maybe next time, probably be able to have enough time to get through some more questions that other people might have. And do you know what I mean? Look, it's been good to be on. It's been good to have a chat. Everyone just stay positive, stay active. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look after yourselves there as well, guys. Well, I'm going to end it there, guys. There's going to be a new video dropping on Monday. I'm doing a 6:30 Monday drops now, and that's just going to be how the channel's going to carry on going forward. I'm looking to do a little bit more live streams as well, if I can, and if the time suits me. But I'm loving this, and I want to just say a big thank you as well to Patrick for coming on tonight. It was really appreciated. You've been someone I've been wanting to get onto the channel for quite some time, and it just lets people know as well, you know, the purpose of these conversations is to show that you're a person, you're a human, you're someone that's looking forward to the future of this country, you're someone that's fighting for the future of this country, you've a vested interest as well with the fact that you have kids, you know, and they just can't tarnish people then that come on and do a 2-hour stint like this, and people see you for what you are, which is you're a nice guy, you're a guy that's looking to do your best, and you're, as I said earlier on, you're a guy that's in a council chamber there that's, you know, swinging from the rafters in terms of when we're talking about what's going on in the country. But, you know, I think more appropriately I would be saying swinging from the hip, I would say, because you're just trying to do what you can in there. And look, you know, again, just keep waking people up.
I didn't come from like a blue collar Fine Gael like type family, like that. I wasn't bred into politics, you know what I mean? Like it's like we're all learning as we're going, and we are doing our best, but the important thing is that we all individually and collectively get better every single day, even if it's just 1%. Do you know what I mean? Just get better every day, and do try and stay positive, and not only look after yourself, but look after each other as best as can.
100%. Thanks again. All right, so guys, I'm going to end it out there, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Slán,